88%. Chapter 421 Pulling you over to make up the number of people. Chapter 421 Pulling you over to make up the number of people. When I came out, irritable Lionhead had disappeared, leaving only the envious eyes of a group of melon eaters. It's ridiculous. Grumpy Lionhead really didn't know Qin Sheng's identity, and he was really just a little grumpy, but Qin Sheng didn't say much when he heard the whispers of these melon eaters. Qin Sheng left the overcrowded streets and went to some remote corners to brush some wild monsters. After the experience value rose to 63%, he went offline. Master, 30 or 40 minutes ago, someone who claimed to be your classmate called. He said, his name is Su Haohan, and there will be a class reunion tomorrow morning, so he asked you to come over to make up the number of people. The mountain ghost walked up to Qin Sheng and said, oh, class reunion. Qin Sheng had already forgotten those classmates in high school. He didn't expect that after a few years, someone would host and call a high school class reunion. Qin Sheng originally wanted to ignore the wind, but when he thought of the violent Lionhead he met today, he felt a little aggrieved. Obviously his own strength is so much stronger than him, but he is still playing so depressed, speechless. So, he thought about it, and finally decided to take a look, just to relax his body and mind at that time. Hey, is it Su Haohan? Qin Sheng has already forgotten about Su Haohan, but who wouldn't play tricks? 207. It's Qin Sheng. Are you coming to the class reunion tomorrow? There was an angry voice on the phone, and Qin Sheng was about to gag. Up. Go. What time tomorrow? Where is it? Although he felt disgusted, Qin Sheng still felt the need to ask some questions before hanging up. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Shamao Hotel. Let's meet here, see you there. Su Haohan's disgusting sissy voice once again stimulated Qin Sheng's eardrums. After learning the news, he hung up the phone directly. It was getting late at night. Qin Sheng just took a bath and fell asleep. In the morning, after breakfast, I have a class reunion to attend later, and I have to go out, so you just stay at home and take good care of your home. Qin Sheng told everyone. Master Sheng, can't we go together? Luo Li said aggrievedly. No, I won't compromise this time. After all, this is a class reunion. It's too shameful for you to go. I can go alone. Qin Sheng shook his head and rejected Luo without thinking. Glass request. But, Luo Li still wanted to say something. Okay, Luo Li, since it's not convenient for Master Cheng to take us there, then we don't have to force it. Stay at home and play with levels, so that we can catch up with Master Sheng as soon as possible. Luo Li was beaten by Lu Li before she finished speaking. Broken. Okay, Luo Li held back her mouth and reluctantly agreed. Qin Sheng breathed a sigh of relief. If this ant really wanted to entangle with him, maybe he would really compromise. At this time, it was thanks to Lu Li, who was decent, intelligent, generous, and considerate. Thinking of this, Qin Sheng glanced at Lu Li, as if Lu Li had discovered it. His face turned red instantly. Qin Sheng was speechless, and then passed by. After explaining everything, Qin Sheng took the time and went straight to the Shamao Hotel that Su Haohan had mentioned. Qin Sheng, why didn't you come here until now? Qin Sheng pushed the door and walked into the specific box Su Haohan mentioned, and immediately there was a dissatisfied complaint. Brother Sheng probably has a lot of things to do, so I delayed a little time. A man with a wow voice spoke for Qin Sheng, but when he said this, his tone was slightly contemptuous. Hee. A group of people sneered and looked Qin Sheng up and down. What can such a person, who is dressed in an unknown miscellaneous brand, cost less than a few $100s? Thinking of this, the eyes of everyone looking at Qin Kong became more and more contemptuous. Qin Sheng's clothes did not have a brand, but they were personally ordered by famous domestic designers, and a set cost tens of thousands. It can only be said that they don't know the goods. I'm Sao. I'm here today to relax, not to fight with you guys. Qin Sheng felt very helpless. How come he was targeted by everyone when he first came? Is he not well received or what? But since he has come, he can't turn around and leave. Qin Sheng touched his nose, turned around and found the only vacant seat without saying a word, and sat down. It seemed that he was indeed the last one to arrive. What made him a little sick was that this location was actually next to Su Haohan. What a sin, Qin Sheng lamented in his heart, not knowing if he had been arranged. Seeing Qin Sheng sitting down, everyone stopped looking at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng is here too. Except for Wang Hao and Yu Haiping. The 6 of them can't come, and everyone else who should be here has arrived. Now the party officially begins. Su Haohen stood up and said, calling the waiter beside him, come and order. Qin Sheng looked around at the Shamao Hotel. It's quite luxurious. Besides a huge table, there is also a place for singing. Just like KTV, it should be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to come here once. These expenses are naturally handed over to Su Haohen, who organized the party. Hundreds of thousands, for ordinary people, is a huge sum of money. Su Haohen, isn't your family background quite ordinary? Why did you spend so much to invite us? When classmates gather for dinner and sit at the dinner table to eat, it is natural to have a lot of asking for warmth and swords and swords. Oh, what are you talking about? Didn't I drop out of school later? I made a little money outside. With this little money, I later started a small company, and the annual net profit is estimated to be nearly 1 million. Hearing this, Su Haohen immediately said a lot. Qin Sheng rolled his eyes. Do these two people treat others as fools? They asked so abruptly and deliberately. Presumably they were Su Haohen's little follower, and they specially asked Su Haohen to show off his identity. Really, Brother Han, what does your company do? We are old classmates. Can you let me work in your company because of the old friendship? Yes, Brother Han, you are richer than us in a blink of an eye. Don't forget to take care of us. A group of people were noisy, although they all knew that Su Haohen wanted to pretend to be aggressive, but no one exposed it. This is the influence of wealth. Among them, there are quite a few people who really want to please Su Haohen and want to work in his company. 88%. Chapter 422 I heard that you are doing well. Chapter 422 I heard that you are doing well. We are all old classmates, so it's no big deal to do such a small favor. In this way, after the party is over, those who are interested can stay and talk with me in detail. Su Haohen smiled boldly, as if he was talking about something insignificant. Little things are the same. In that case, please trouble Brother Han. Everyone smiled and said politely. By the way, Huangqi, I heard that you are doing well. What have you been doing recently? Su Haohen suddenly turned his gaze to Huangqi, and asked like a superior to a subordinate. It's so. Just start a small business, and it's only 300,000 to 500,000 a year. Compared with the rich generation like you, Brother Han, it's still far behind. When Huangqi was mentioned, this person didn't look arrogant. Instead, he had a flattering look on his face. 3 to 5 million yuan a year is still okay, and the average person can earn 100,000 yuan a year. A man with a gold necklace on his neck, a gold watch on his hand, and gold teeth in his mouth said in a flat tone. Jin Dao, I knew before that your family is very rich, but now you seem to have more temperament. What are you doing recently? A gentlemanly man in a suit asked with a smile on his face. Wu Taotao, you hypocrite. Jin Dao, who was wearing a gold necklace, snorted coldly. The two seemed to be at odds since high school, but he still said, I'm in a stock company now, and I can do it in a month. Take millions. But you, what are you doing now? Me, what else can I do? Inherit my dad's clothing company, otherwise what else can I do? Fortunately, I can earn millions a year. Wu Dao, who was wearing a suit, chuckled. The people below sighed for a while. They could not get a salary of 100,000 yuan a year, and the high salary was only 200,000 to 300,000 yuan. And the people who are speaking now, at least say that their annual income is 3 to 5 million yuan, and there are several million a year. How dare they interrupt at this time? Okay, didn't you notice that we were the only ones talking? What about the classmate reunion? That would be boring. Su Haohen seemed to see the embarrassment of the others, and stood up to speak for them. By the way, Qin Sheng, what have you been doing lately? Su Haohen seemed to mention Qin Sheng on the right-hand side in order to ease the atmosphere. Me, Qin Sheng was stunned. Why did he get shot while lying down? I'm not looking for something to do, I'm squatting at home. Qin Sheng replied truthfully. But at this time, everyone's eyes turned to Qin Sheng again, full of bewilderment and contempt. Although there is no shortage of people present with a monthly salary of only 3 to 5,000, but squatting at home is too much. As expected, Qin Sheng, you said that it was fine if you didn't study hard at the beginning, but now that you have entered the society, you don't even look for a job at all. You are really depraved, Su Haohen said mockingly. The young master is not short of money. Qin Sheng rolled his eyes, but didn't say much. He is too lazy to talk to this kind of clown. But what's strange is that he only has memories from high school to the present, and he has completely forgotten everything about his childhood. This feeling is as clean as if his memory has been erased. I can't remember anything about his family. Moreover, Qin Sheng also suddenly became rich after graduating from high school, and everything was confusing. Forget it, don't talk about it, don't disturb the good class reunion. There are also some good people in the class who stand up and control the scene. That's right, Qin Sheng. If one day you really can't make it through, just come to me. I will think of my former classmates and help you find a job. Su Haohan snorted coldly, as if said to Qin Sheng like alms. Qin Sheng directly filtered out Su Haohan's words this time, and ate his feast on his own. HMPH. Seeing Qin Sheng ignoring him, Su Haohan's expression turned pale as if he had eaten shit, and at the same time, a plan in his mind began to ferment. Everyone, go in and sing. After the meal was over, Su Haohan began to speak. Others naturally did not refuse, because singing is also an important part of the dinner party. In the karaoke room, it was extremely lively. Cheerful people holding microphones to join in the fun, small bosses and big bosses with an annual income of hundreds of thousands or millions, shamelessly holding microphones to expose their tone insufficiency. The women are all showing off, as if to please some of the people present as charming as a person. Only Qin Sheng was out of tune with this lively atmosphere. At this moment, he even had the urge to have a dream. Asking for flowers. At this time, Su Haohan quietly gave Huangqi a wink. Huangqi nodded to show his understanding, and then walked towards Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng, why are you sitting here alone? Don't you sing? How boring would that be? Let's sing a song. Huangqi looked at Qin Sheng and said with a smile, Song smile is obviously not good. Not singing. Not interested, Qin Sheng said bluntly. Just always very quiet. I remember you and Li Qi sang the chorus version before, and you were still a model couple in the class at that time. Huangqi didn't pay attention to what Qin Sheng said, and walked away on his own before ordering songs. I began to help Qin Sheng order songs. Qin Sheng was speechless. Did you come to ask for my opinion? Or just to talk to me? 0. The love for you has always been quiet, in exchange for your occasional care. It's hard to give up hospitality, but as Qin Sheng sang, he realized something was wrong. This FCK was actually a chorus version. Is this Huangqi out of his mind or what? Knowing that he has already broken up with Li Qi, why did he make such a fuss? The others also looked at Qin Sheng with sympathy, as if they felt sorry for him. Seeing Huangqi and Su Haohan secretly exchanged glances, Qin Sheng's heart was filled with anger. Clay figurines also have anger, not to mention that he is a violent person. The reason why I didn't say anything before was because I didn't want to bother with this kind of jumping clown, but I don't mind teaching this kind of jumping clown and self-righteous person a lesson. Oh, I'm so sorry, I suddenly remembered that you broke up with Li Qi a few years ago, and now you are single. It's a pity that Li Qi and his boyfriend went out for a tour today. I'll switch to the solo version right away. Huangqi explained. I don't think so. Maybe there are girls in our class who want to sing with Qin Sheng. They have never had a chance. Today is just a chance to take advantage of her. How did I offend Su Haohan? Damn, I've been targeted since I came here. Su Haohan, that's enough. Qin Sheng stood up suddenly with a cold expression on his face. 88%. Chapter 423 Did I say something wrong? Chapter 423 Did I say something wrong? What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Being stared at by Qin Sheng, Su Haohan felt as if he was being targeted by a tiger, which made him very suffocated, and he began to stammer. At first I didn't want to argue with you, but you are too noisy. I think it is necessary to teach you a lesson, let you weigh yourself. Qin Sheng was speaking well, but was interrupted by someone outside the door up. The people inside get out. From now on, this place is our boss's territory. Just as Qin Sheng and Su Haohan were confronting each other, arrogant words suddenly came from outside the door. Everyone ignored the uninvited guests. After all, people from one class came out to the party. Even if some people were not present, there were still nearly 40 people present. Although there are some 430 girls who are powerless, the vast majority are still boys. On the contrary, everyone looked at the door with contempt on their faces. Such a domineering identity, just so domineering. Hey, brother, whose territory? You are still occupying it, are you tired of working? The dog legs outside the door shouted, and with his final ultimatum, the door of the box was broken by brute force. A dozen social gangsters immediately poured into the box, each with a tattoo of a green dragon and a white tiger, which brought a great visual impact to everyone. It's finally here. A poor dick, I'll give you face, but you dare to hang up on my phone, then don't blame me for being cruel today, and let you lose face. Seeing the dozen or so gangsters pouring into the box, Su Haohen was not surprised but pleased, and looked at Qin Sheng provocatively. If he knew that Su Haohan hated him because he hung up his phone before, Qin Sheng would laugh at Su Haohan dumbfounded. Who is hosting the venue here? Brother Who is here, and he didn't let go of his heirs to greet him in person. A sharp-toothed dog leg stood up and said with emotion. Listening to this sound, it is exactly the tone of the person calling the instrument outside. And behind him stood a steady man with a deep knife scar on his face. At this time, his younger brother grabbed a chair for him, and sat down without any politeness. It seems that this person is Brother Who. Everyone knows that. To be honest, they really didn't know Brother Who before. It doesn't mean that Brother Who is not well known in this area, but that these students usually struggle for work and have never come into contact with this kind of person at all. After hearing what the dog leg said, everyone looked at Su Haohen reflexively. In fact, even if those gangsters don't look for Su Haohen, they will push Su Haohen out. After all, it was the party hosted by Su Haohen, so it was all up to him. This is different from what I told them. Did my younger brother make a mistake? Su Haohan was a little confused. He clearly told his younger brothers that he was dragging Qin Sheng out so he could take the opportunity to humiliate him. Why did things develop to this point, but they pushed themselves out first? But it's not important. Although they can't humiliate Qin Sheng, they can still pretend to be aggressive in front of their classmates. My name is Su Haohen, you must have heard of my name. Su Haohen took a step forward and replied proudly. Seeing that Su Haohan's aura is so huge, the dogleg is a little confused. Looking back at Brother Who, seeing that Brother Who didn't respond, he scolded, Damn. Brother Who is here, why are you pretending? Su Haohen is messed up. What is going on here? This is completely different from what I expected. Could it be the invited actor, or my little brother made a mistake? Shouldn't Brother Who speak at this time, say something like sorry, and express his respect for Su Haohan's name? But before Brother Who didn't say a word, he was forced by a person with the status of a dog, damn it. No, you really haven't heard of Su Haohan's name. Su Haohan said in a daze. The students present looked a little weird, and they all started to feel embarrassed for Su Haohan. But on the other hand, they also secretly admired Su Haohan's courage to face it. The dog leg is also dumbfounded. No, he has never asked Urk what his name is. Why does this Urk in front of him keep emphasizing his name? Could it be that he has something to do with Brother Who? Or is he a hidden son? Thinking of this, Go Zuzi cast his eyes on Brother Who again, and Brother Who simply shook his head this time, expressing that he didn't know this character. Stinky boy, since you are too pretentious and not polite to us Brother Who, I want to cut off one of your fingers as a price. Go Zuizi said viciously. Ma Dan thought that he was such a great person, so he jumped his heart one up and one down. What's going on here? Su Haohan's face turned pale in an instant. He is not an idiot at this scene. It seems that these people in front of him are not the people he called, but another group of people. Su Haohan turned his attention to the classmates beside him for help. He didn't expect someone to fight for him, he just hoped that someone would secretly call the police or stand up and speak for him. But he was disappointed. When he looked over, those people immediately glanced over, eager to separate the relationship. The slightly better people just cast helpless and sympathetic eyes on Su Haohan. Hey, the human relationship is cold and warm, and the people who were flattering in front of him before, would act as cowards one by one when encountering difficulties, which made Su Haohan realize it. Now it seems that these snobbish and fearful classmates cannot be counted on. I am the president of South China Company, with an annual salary of 1 million. You dare to touch me. Otherwise, after I am done, I will find a group of people to settle accounts with you. Seeing two thugs clamping his arms, Su Haohan started panicked. Oh, the president of South China 1.5 Company, right. It's just a small company. Let me see who you will find to deal with us afterwards. The dog leg looked at Su Haohan with a ferocious expression, without any fear. For them, only tens of millions of characters can sell face without doing anything. They will only respect people who are hundreds of millions of people. With an annual salary of 1 million, they will not be timid. If this please forgive me. Seeing that he couldn't do it, Su Haohan burst into tears, shocking everyone in the audience. It's all men who don't flick their tears easily, but at this moment, Su Haohan's gaze flowed out like flowing water. The classmates in the class originally had a little admiration for Su Haohan, but now they only have a lot of disgust. Although it is possible to have my finger amputated, it is too shameful. 88%. Chapter 424 Can't Eat and Walk Around. Chapter 424 Can't Eat and Walk Around. That's enough. Brother who had been silent all this time, frowned, and finally spoke the first sentence. When he looked in Su Haohan's direction, he also had disgust in his eyes. Being so cowardly, he still doesn't want to show color to this kind of person. Hearing this, the two punks let go of Su Haohan's arms. Thank you. Thank you. Su Haohan burst into tears of gratitude, and hastily wiped away his snot and tears. Everyone who watched was extremely disgusted. This, two people stay and play with me, and the others can leave. Brother who pointed to the crowd, and he caught two beautiful beauties in the class. Everyone was at a loss for words. As for the two women that Brother who had taken a fancy to, their faces turned pale, and one of them is still a family member. What? Brother who said that these two stay here, and the rest of you can leave. Didn't you hear that, or do you plan to stay here today and walk around if you can't eat? Guzi watched his words and saw that Brother who frowned. He said hastily. That's right. Brother who said so, let's leave quickly. Su Haohan was terrified, and now that he could leave here, he couldn't wait. I'm afraid that if Brother who gets angry, he will suffer disaster at that time, and the gain will not be worth the loss. After hearing what Su Haohan said, everyone looked at him with some contempt, even the little gangster gave him a look full of disdain. What kind of eyes are you looking at? Am I thinking of you? Su Haohan was extremely embarrassed, but he was still confident. No one paid attention to him, and now no one stood up to speak, and no one left the box, and the scene fell into anxiety. Indeed, there are more than 20 boys on Qin Sheng's side, but most of them are the kind of skinny boys, and Su Haohan is even more of a sissy. On the other side of the punks, everyone is strong and breezy, and they are holding a dick in their hands, and they look intimidating. How can anyone on Qin Sheng's side dare to speak out? But they would absolutely not allow them to just abandon the girls in the same class and let the gangsters play with them. Brother whose eyes flickered, and he went out today by himself, only bringing a dozen younger brothers with him. There were nearly 40 people in front of him, and the boys were in their early 20s, but fortunately, they all had bright sticks and bayonets in their hands, and the other party didn't dare to act rashly at all. Thinking of this, Brother who became more confident. Qin Sheng, aren't you very proud? Didn't you still threaten me just now? You are so courageous, why did a bunch of gangsters come and hide behind the corner? Su Haohan's eyes turned red, and he was about to drag Qin Sheng into the water. How despicable. Su Haohan, let's be a classmate. It's fine for you to target Qin Sheng in various ways before, but now that this kind of thing has happened, you still want to take revenge on the villain. It's disgusting. Su Haohan, I really misread you. As soon as Su Haohan said these words, he was immediately criticized by his classmates. If they were going to have their fingers cut off by the gangsters before, they would understand Su Haohan's snot and tears. After all, everyone is afraid that they will lose a finger for the rest of their lives. But Su Haohan wanted to take revenge on Qin as a villain, this was too much. Oh, who's Qin Sheng? Come out consciously. Brother who was a little interested. If this Qin Sheng was made miserable, these people would probably succumb to his lust and stay in their own fat army. Now that they don't know how terrible they are, what they are about to perform is the beating from the society until they feel terrified. What can you do with me? Qin Sheng walked out, gave Su Haohan a cold look, and replied lightly. What can I do with you? Ha ha ha, it's really interesting, you'll find out later. Brother who licked his tongue and said excitedly. Very good, it seems that this person in front of him is different from Su Haohan, and he is tough enough. And what he is best at is to torture those hard-boned people until they kneel down and beg for mercy. Only in this way will he feel a sense of accomplishment. Brother who gestured with his eyes, and the gangsters nearby immediately understood, and the two stepped forward and bound Qin Sheng's arms with both hands. Qin Sheng didn't move, and let these people move. Don't you want to know what to do? I'll satisfy you now. Brother who stood up from the chair, pushed away the dog's legs, held the dagger that was shining coldly, and looked at Qin Sheng with a ferocious smile and laughed wildly. Ah! Some timid women directly covered their eyes with their hands, as if they had predicted what was going to happen next, and did not dare to face it. Ding! The dagger was magnified in the eyes of countless people. The expected bloody scene did not happen. Where the dagger touched Qin Sheng, there was a crisp sound like it was touching steel. Did you use a fake knife? You didn't even cut your clothes at all with such a knife. It's a fake knife, but the quality is too low. Qin Sheng was not surprised at all, but looked indifferent. He smiled and looked at Brother Hu, who was full of astonishment. What's going on here? Brother Hu was stunned for a while. Although he didn't use too much strength, the purpose was to see the blood and give these people a psychological deterrent, but it was not enough to not even cut his clothes. Damn, since you dare to provoke me, I think you really want to die at 573. Brother Hu, who reacted angrily, roared, holding a dagger and fiercely slashing at Qin Sheng's leg. I thought to myself, at most, it would be enough to row until the bones recuperate for a period of time. The worst thing is to spend the next life lying in a hospital bed and a wheelchair. I can still bear this kind of result. Whoever told this dude to provoke himself, blame you for offending someone who shouldn't be offended. Ding! Under the watchful eyes of a group of people, the dagger in Brother Hu's hand flew out of his hand, and fell to the ground with a bang. The only difference is that this knockdown brought damage to Qin Sheng. However, there was a small hole in the clothes, and the skin seemed to be scratched, and not even a trace of blood flowed out. Brother Hu, are you using a fake dagger? Go Zuzi rubbed his eyes, hesitantly asked in disbelief of the situation before him. How is it possible? Brother Hu originally wanted to say how is it possible, but he couldn't come out when the words came to his lips. If it's not a fake dagger, how can you prove the situation in front of you? Even Washa's special forces and taekwondo masters can't do that. I've had enough of playing. Qin Sheng simply pulled his hands from the arms of the two punks. This restraint seemed to be useless, and the faces of the two punks became distorted in the next moment. 88%. Chapter 425 Lost Combat Power. Chapter 425 Lost Combat Effectiveness. As Qin Sheng pulled out his hands, the faces of the two punks twisted. Because when Qin Sheng pulled out his hands, it was very violent and powerful, directly bending the arms of the two punks, maybe breaking them. The two lay on the ground, clutching their arms, howling in pain, losing their fighting power. Go Zuzi and Brother Hu looked at each other in blank dismay. If they suspected that the dagger was fake before, but seeing the scene before them, they changed their mind again. Is that why you came to me? If you don't have the ability, don't come out to embarrass yourself. Qin Sheng twisted his limbs, and his joints made a crackling sound. You pretend to be a ghost. Hurry up and get on me, I'll cover you if something happens. Hu Fu ordered a dozen of his men to deal with Qin Sheng. Delling, Brother Hu, although they were mostly afraid, but Brother Hu was their eldest brother, no matter how scared they were, they had no choice but to raise their swords. Qin Sheng, would you like us to help you? Seeing that Qin Sheng was about to face so many vicious gangsters, the male students in the class couldn't stand it, and rushed forward to share the pressure for Qin Sheng. Of course, it's just that they think so. No, stand back and try not to be affected. These shrimp soldiers and crabs will not be able to do anything to me. If you rush in, it will distract me and hurt yourself. The meaning behind the words. They are cumbersome. Although what Qin Sheng said was a bit hurtful, what he said was the truth. The sword has no eyes, and the eyes are red from killing. It doesn't matter if there is a small injury, and killing people is not what Qin Sheng wants to see. Okay, then be careful. The surging energy of the crowd suddenly cooled down when they heard Qin Sheng's words. Indeed, who wants to cross one foot, and who wants to get hurt? They just don't want to see their classmates get hurt, not to mention, Qin Sheng dared to jump out and confront those gangsters. Therefore, seeing Qin Sheng's strength, they had no choice but to retreat to the corner of the box according to what he said, and watch him fight bravely against the evil disciple. At this time, more than a dozen gangsters also surrounded Qin Sheng in a circle. They held shining daggers and exaggerated swinging sticks, with hideous faces. They feel that no matter how high their skills are, it is impossible to escape from their encirclement. No matter how strong the ability to resist blows is, a person made of iron will not be able to bear it if he throws a stick. But Qin Sheng is the most unreasonable person. Seeing more than a dozen tall and burly punks surrounding him heavily, Qin Sheng didn't panic in the slightest. Instead, a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he said flatly, use whatever you have. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. Quote. Damn, you are made of steel, you can't be so arrogant. Let me, Wang or Chui, punish you for being so arrogant and domineering today. Bastard. Since you dare to speak nonsense in front of Brother Hu, I think you don't want to live anymore. What are you pretending to be? I will tear your face off right now. To a large extent, Qin Sheng instantly attracted the hatred of these gangsters. They picked up the weapons in their hands, threw them at him, and slashed at him. The students watching were terrified. Is Qin Sheng okay? One person whispered. Should. It's all right. Another person replied uncertainly. What can he do? Didn't he just want to pretend? He thinks that he can beat a dozen punks with weapons, so let's leave him alone and let him fend for himself. Su Haohan looking in Qin Sheng's direction, his face was filled with a smile like a villain. Su Haohan, you've gone too far. A woman looked at Su Haohan with angry eyes and said as if condemning something. What's wrong with me? I'm just telling the truth. Since he's willing to be this early bird and wants to pretend he's such an asshole, why don't we just let him? But the price may be his life. Su Haohan sneered. Hee hee. If you want to pretend, of course it's you, Su Haohan. Do you think we didn't see all the little tricks you did before? It's just too lazy to talk about it. Besides, Qin Sheng was also pushed out by a villain like you. If something really happens, you are fully responsible. Wu Taotao, a man in a suit, pushed his glasses and said like a breeze. It was really this wording that left Su Haohan speechless. I don't know who was begging for mercy with snot and tears just now, but Qin Sheng is at least braver than you guys to deal with these little bastards, and he is also much more capable than trash like you. Jin Dao glanced at Su Haohan and said with disdain. In terms of family property, they are naturally much richer than Su Haohan, so they speak freely. Su Haohan, I really misjudged the person. I will not hang out with you in the future, because I am afraid that I will be pushed out by you one day. Huang Qi, who has the best relationship with Su Haohan, also stood up and spoke. He was very disappointed with Su Haohan for everything that happened before. How dare you? Huang Qi, you have to think about it clearly. Once you leave me, I will take the opportunity to suppress you as soon as I find an opportunity. Su Haohan glared at Huang Qi and threatened. Huang Qi smiled wryly. He was like an assistant. He has helped Su Haohan deal with matters big and small all these years, but now, Su Haohan wants to threaten himself. It's ridiculous. Huang Qi, get rid of him. My factory will pay more attention to you in the future, Su Haohan, it's not worth mentioning. Jin Dao folded his arms around his chest and gave Su Haohan a provocative look. Su Haohan. All of a sudden, Su Haohan betrayed his relatives. Don't bother with such a villain. Well, I just took advantage of the chaos and quietly called the police Wang Zhao. It shouldn't be long before they arrive, as long as Qin Sheng can persevere. The hope of the whole village rests on him. Damn, not only is this guy good at fighting, he's actually so fast. After several shots, the dozen or so gangsters didn't even touch Qin Sheng's clothes. How is this possible? You know, the range of Qin Sheng's activities is only a few meters away, and more than a dozen armed weapons have not even touched the hem of his clothes. They looked at each other in blank dismay, and actually saw a trace of confusion and panic in each other's eyes. What are you doing? Why didn't you take action? Ma Dan, a dozen people can't deal with one person with weapons, a bunch of rubbish. Brother Hu said angrily. Because he was standing at the back, he naturally couldn't see Qin Sheng's frightening movements when he was trapped in the encirclement. 89%. Chapter 426 I have given you a chance. Chapter 426 I have given you a chance. All he knew was that his subordinates suddenly stopped their movements and looked at each other. People who didn't know thought they were having sex on the spot. Hearing the urging meaning in Brother Hu's words, a dozen or so gangsters gritted their teeth secretly, and bombarded Qin Sheng with the weapons in their hands. It's too slow. I've given you a chance, and now you'll bear my wrath. Qin Sheng lowered his body, dodged the dagger that was close at hand, and said calmly. And as Qin Sheng's voice fell, his figure suddenly spun like a top, and at the same time, his fist took care of every punk surrounding him. The gangsters surrounding Qin Sheng only felt a burning pain on their faces, and then felt the world spinning around, and they were beaten into the air several times. The whole person collapsed to the ground like a dead fish. One by one collapsed to the ground, moaning non-stop, but no one stood up for a long time, obviously losing their fighting power. The power of one blow is so terrifying. We're vulnerable. Qin Sheng clenched his fists lightly, and said lightly. Qin Sheng is mighty. Awesome old watch. Take me to fly, okay. Qin Sheng marry me. Qin Sheng, Huang Qi is not satisfied with the water and soil, so I will obey you. As soon as Qin Sheng dealt with the dozen or so gangsters from 510 in front of him, thunderous cheers erupted in the box. Men worship, and women have little stars in their eyes. It's okay not to be low-key. Qin Sheng shook his head helplessly. He originally wanted to keep a low profile, but was pushed to the forefront by Su Haohan. Thinking of this, he glanced at Su Haohan. Su Haohan looked at everything that happened in front of him. His face was as embarrassing as if he had eaten shit. He obviously wanted to embarrass Qin Sheng, or be dealt with by these gangsters, but the reality was running in the opposite direction from his own thoughts. All I can say is, eat your own fruit. Brother Hu, what should we do now? Looking at the scene in front of him, Go Zuzi couldn't speak fluently. What else can I do? You stay and support me for a while, and I'll call the other brothers right away. Brother Hu slapped the dog leg on the head, signaling him to go on stage. Brother Hu, you also know that this person in front of you can't be treated with common sense. I'm afraid I won't be able to last even a second in his hands. Sheng. Go ahead if you want, why are you talking so much nonsense? Don't worry, when I go back and gather my brothers, I will definitely get this place back. After finishing speaking, Brother Hu couldn't help but push the dog's legs out, and he rolled the crawler ran towards the door. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry to disturb you during the dinner time of your classmates. I'm really sorry, I'm leaving now. Go Zuzi said with a flattering face. After speaking, he moved slowly, wanting to slip away. It's already here, don't you plan to stay and play? Qin Sheng smiled lightly, and greeted the dog's leg with the same punch. The dog leg wailed suddenly, and collapsed to the ground like the others, becoming one of them. I'm going to chase Brother Hu and teach him a lesson so that he won't come to trouble you in the future. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he disappeared in front of his classmates in a blink of an eye. My God, did Qin Sheng go to Shaolin Temple to secretly practice Kung Fu? I haven't seen you for a few years, has it become like this? What nonsense are you talking about? Even if you are a member of Shaolin Temple, do you have the ability and speed to fight? This is too perverted. Everyone looked at the place where Qin Sheng had left, only their faces were filled with astonishment. At the same time, in another box, Yu Yang, should we BFFH go? A wretched-looking person asked. Well, it's about the same. The person named Yu Yang nodded slightly, and then, as if he suddenly thought of something, he suddenly patted the head of this wretched-looking person and said, how many times have I said this? Call me big brother, don't lose the chain when the time comes, and mess up this matter. Oh, Yu Yang, Brother Hu had never run so fast before, he just felt that he had exhausted all his strength at this moment, and within a few seconds, he had already reached the end of this floor. When I was about to go down the stairs, there was a sudden gust of cold wind from the right. It's over. Brother Hu was thinking silently, and a stream of cold sweat dripped from his forehead. What's the matter? Do you still want to continue running? When Brother Hu looked forward again, the figure of Qin Sheng had already appeared in front of him. Don't force me. Brother Hu looked at Qin Sheng directly, and suddenly said this sentence out of nowhere. Just use any other tricks. I want to see when you can give up resistance. Qin Sheng put his hands behind his back, with a calm expression on his face, unmoved by Brother Hu's words in the slightest. Go to hell. Brother Hu suddenly pulled out a pistol from his waist and opened it towards Qin Sheng's face. But in the next scene, the eyeballs of Brother Hu's shock almost fell off. Because he found out that Qin Sheng actually caught the bullet with his index finger and middle finger, which is so f***ing unbelievable. Not to mention that the speed of the bullet is difficult for ordinary people to react to. With this distance alone, humans have no time to react, let alone dodge the bullet. If he hadn't met him in person today, he would have thought it was a movie. Brother, I was wrong, go around me. Brother Hu was stunned for a while, and then he reacted, and immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. As a person with leadership ability, it is natural to be able to bend and stretch, otherwise he would not have scrambled to this point. Okay, I'm just going to teach you a lesson. After all, no one in my class was injured today, you should be thankful for that. Originally, I didn't plan to intervene today. Since someone wanted me to show off, I will do my part. Qin Sheng said forgivingly. Damn it, I remember him, that Su Haohan, goddamn bastard. Brother Hu secretly hates, if it wasn't for this Su Haohan, he wouldn't have provoked someone like Qin Sheng, at least he wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable situation. Brother Hu secretly made up his mind that he must find trouble with Su Haohan afterwards. Poor Su Haohan, if he hadn't said his name a few times on purpose, Brother Hu wouldn't have remembered his name, hey. But having said that, you still bothered me and my classmates, so you should apologize to them. Qin Sheng changed the subject and said calmly to Brother Hu in front of him. 89%. Chapter 427 You want to recognize me as the boss. Chapter 427 You want to recognize me as the boss. It's natural, I'm going to apologize to them now. From now on, you will be our boss, and we will all follow you. Brother Hu bowed his head and said, You want to recognize me as the boss. Qin Sheng was stunned for a while. That's right, we have always respected a powerful man as the boss. According to the strength of the boss, it is more than enough to replace me. From now on, I will follow behind the boss and be the second in command. Brother Hu seems to have seen Qin Sheng's intentions. If you don't understand, quickly explain, Road. I see. Qin Sheng nodded slightly, and then asked, Then how many people do you have under your command? More than 200 people. Brother Hu pondered for a while before continuing. Interesting. But I don't have time to take care of so many people, because I don't have time, most of my time is stagnant on fantasy online games. Qin Sheng shook his head with a smile. Boss, do you also play Dream? Brother Hu exclaimed, and then said excitedly, We are not punks at all, but a group of jobless vagrants. We specially organized a gang to play games every day, so we were underestimated, call it a punk, but we also make a lot of money selling equipment on online games. Oh, it means that if you become their boss, you don't need to manage them at all, you just need to have a name. At most, you can play games with them. Qin Sheng was a little moved, but he didn't immediately agree. Let's not talk about this now, you and my classmates should apologize first. Qin Sheng changed the subject. Okay. Brother Hu and Qin Sheng walked into the box and found another group of people surrounded it. It's just that this group of people didn't look like ordinary amateurs, they were all a group of skinny shrimp boys, not enough to intimidate Qin Sheng's classmates. Yu Yang has never hung himself like this before, because everyone in the audience is paying attention to him, which makes him feel extremely enjoyable. Just when he was about to say a word or two, he noticed that the door of the box was pushed open, and he looked back reflexively. It's okay if you don't look at it, but you are shocked when you look at it. Behind this stood the famous Brother Hu. Although he was an amateur, Brother Hu still knew about it. Of course, he doesn't know Brother Hu's younger brother. Otherwise, the moment he saw Brother Hu's little brother, he might have turned around and left. His body trembled, and he cast a puzzled look at Su Haohan, as if he was asking, What? Did you call other people over? Why didn't you tell yourself in advance? Su Haohan just cast an idiot look at Yu Yang. When Yu Yang came in, his eyes hinted that he felt like he was leaving. Unexpectedly, this guy only cared about enjoying the feeling of a big brother. It's all right now, Qin Sheng is back, Yu Yang's idiots may not be enough for him to fight. After all, Su Haohan has just seen Qin Sheng's skills. Qin Sheng and Brother Hu walked in openly, completely ignoring Yu Yang who was standing in the middle pretending to be a big brother. Everyone, I'm really sorry to disturb everyone's gathering today. Here, I sincerely express my apologies to everyone. After speaking, Hu bowed deeply to Qin Kong and his classmates. Immediately, he said to his subordinates who were still wailing on the ground, What are you still pretending to do? You can go. If you don't go, I can't guarantee whether you can get out of this box. As soon as Brother Hu said this, his subordinates who were lying on the ground covering their arms and thighs stood up with a thump. Yu Yang was stunned. Why did the famous Brother Hu apologize to a group of people? What is the origin of these people in front of him? From now on, he felt a little flustered and uneasy. Before Brother Hu left, he cast a pitiful look at Yu Yang. What did I ask you? Are you making trouble here and disturbing my interest in playing? Yu Yang said in a strong tone until Brother Hu and his group of younger brothers completely left the box. No one answered, and the scene was silent for a while. Everyone looked at Yu Yang strangely, only Qin Sheng looked at him with a smile. What? Shouldn't I be scared at this time? Could it be that I didn't act like myself enough, and Yu Yang couldn't understand? Isn't this Brother Su? Why do you have the leisure to come here today? Yu Yang seemed to have discovered Su Haohan's location by accident, and immediately walked over affectionately, wrapping his arms around Su Haohan's shoulders. Who are you? Su Haohan said with an ugly face, while his eyes kept hinting to Yu Yang to leave this place. Brother Su, how can you pretend that you don't know me? How can you say such hurtful things after we have been friends for so long? Yu Yong's expression was not good. It's different. Su Haohen, do you know him? Qin Sheng looked at Su Haohen and asked thoughtfully. I don't know him. I'm leaving. Let's go here today. Su Haohen shook off Yu Yong's hand and was about to leave the box. Don't move. Before Su Haohen left, a group of policemen entered the box with guns. Comrade policeman, I'm not in trouble, that's right. It was Su Haohen who asked me to cooperate with him, let him pretend to be aggressive, and put on such a scene. Yu Yong immediately panicked when he saw the policeman filing in, and said hastily. Sao. Su Haohen's mentality exploded. Comrade police, I don't know them, don't take me back to the bureau. Su Haohen secretly scolded his teammates. Comrade policeman, I really know him, I know his name is Su Haohen, you should believe me. The group of brothers behind Yu Yong also nodded quickly, eager to separate the relationship. You people, enter the police station and write a confession. One person stood up and drew with his finger, and the rest of the police officers heard the order and took Yu Yong, his group of little brothers, and Su Haohen with them. As for the others, make live statements. After finishing a series of things, it was already evening. Qin Sheng, come out and meet sometime. A woman winked at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng, from now on, you will be the god in my heart. Some men targeted him. Qin Sheng just smiled and didn't say much, when suddenly a speeding car stopped in front of him. Luo Li, mountain ghost, giant spirit, why are you all here? Qin Sheng looked at the people in the car and asked suspiciously. Didn't you tell them to stay at home before you set off? Master Sheng said he came out to have a meal, but he hasn't come back yet. We were worried, so we came over to check on the situation. Li seemed to be afraid of arousing Qin Sheng's resentment, and hurriedly explained to Yi. 89%. Chapter 428. The intestines are green with regret. Chapter 428. The intestines are regretful. This okay. What else could Qin Sheng say? After all, they were worried about themselves, so they couldn't hurt them by saying hurtful things. Qin Sheng sat in the co-pilot, and Zhu Lingshan sat in the driver's seat to start the car, and passed in front of the students. I read that right. Qin Sheng's car is a Rolls-Royce car, it's incredible. You read it right, because I saw it too. If I remember correctly, Rolls-Royce cars cost at least several $1 million. Even Su Haohan only drives a Mercedes-Benz. This comparison is simply amazing. Didn't you hear that there is a peerless beauty in the car named Qin Sheng who is called Master Sheng? This kind of beauty is 100 times stronger than Li Qi. If Li Qi knows, I'm afraid I'll regret it. Haha, who told her to be so powerful back then? To be honest, I didn't expect Qin Sheng to be a hidden rich man. Qin Sheng did not expect that after he left, he would shock his classmates greatly. If they know that this is just the tip of the iceberg of his wealth, they don't know how to react. Master Sheng, you had a great time, so leave a group of us waiting for you at home. Sitting in the car, Lu Li said resentfully. Tell me, what compensation do you want? Qin Sheng smiled helplessly. Whenever Luo Li was like this, he knew that she would definitely ask for something. Master Sheng still understands people. Why don't we just play outside today? Luo Li suggested. Qin Sheng was speechless. He had just traveled to Mount Wutai a few days ago, and now that he came back here, Luo Li wanted to play again. How playful this ant is. Okay, but Qin Sheng didn't refuse. He happened to be sitting next to Su Haohen today, and he didn't eat anything, and it's almost evening now, so let's just spend the night outside. Luo Li, Lu Li, Qin Sheng, Zhu Shenling, and Shan Gui walked around the night market, bought some small things and ate some barbecue and were satisfied. Suddenly, Qin Sheng's sensitive perception told him that someone was secretly spying on them, and this feeling was very uncomfortable. Looking in the direction he sensed, he could only see a dark patch. Except for the brightly lit area that was shrouded in lights, the rest of the place was shrouded in darkness, accompanied only by faint glimmers of moonlight. You go shopping first, I have something to do. After speaking, Qin Sheng pushed aside the crowd and rushed towards the direction he sensed. Qin Sheng walked to the place where the lights were brightly lit, and found that there was a figure walking into the woods with his back facing him. Under the dim moonlight, Qin Sheng did not lose sight of the person in front of him. But every time he was about to lose track or catch up with the person in front of him, he would always keep a safe distance of 10 from himself. This feeling is like deliberately inducing yourself. Who the hell are you? Why did you follow us all the way? After a while, Qin Sheng finally cornered the mysterious man, and he didn't know if the mysterious man deliberately stopped to wait for him. Qin Sheng. The mysterious man made a hoarse voice, "You must protect the earth." After finishing speaking, the body of the mysterious person instantly turned into fine particles, and became a part of the world, as if he had never been here before. This voice seems to be the mysterious person who guided him to the cave in Wutai Mountain. It appeared again now, but what did he want to do with him? Qin Sheng pondered secretly. As for what the mysterious man said, he was even more puzzled. He is just a person with superb strength, but he has self-knowledge to save the world. Moreover, the current world is very peaceful, except for the occasional small wars between countries in order to compete for interests and land. It seems that there is no abnormality. This kind of thing is not in their own hands. Things were a little confusing, and Qin Sheng felt that his brain was not enough. Clang. Just as Qin Sheng was thinking about it, he heard the sound of an object hitting the ground slightly. Is this a USB flash drive? Qin Sheng picked up the dropped object and found that it was actually a USB flash drive, and it fell from the mysterious person. But he didn't feel the slightest sense of joy, instead he felt even more frightened. He felt that he might be approaching the truth about the world, and it was more likely to be a huge conspiracy. But no matter what, there is nothing to be afraid of when the soldiers come to block the water and cover the soil. After thinking about all this, Qin Sheng put the USB flash drive into his pocket. When Qin Sheng returned to the big team, everyone had already entered the final state, so he was thinking about finding a hotel to stay. There happens to be a hotel nearby. Luo Li said. It seems that you have made up your mind a long time ago. You purposely searched for food near the hotel to satisfy your appetite. Qin Sheng said helplessly. Luo Li giggled, acquiescing to what Qin Sheng said. After they made a decision, they drove the Rolls-Royce straight away. Day, who the hell is so rude, splashing dirty water all over my body? The giant spirit god drove a Rolls-Royce and stopped at the entrance of a hotel, but heard a man's yelling. A few people got out of the car and looked at the situation. In front of him were two people sitting on a bench, disheveled. It seems that Qin Sheng interrupted their good business and annoyed them. Li Qi. Qin Sheng looked intently, and the woman in front of him was none other than Li Qi. She didn't attend the class reunion, but came to this kind of place to enjoy with her boyfriend. It was really leisurely. Qin Sheng. Li Qi was also stunned for a while, and after she realized it, she went on to say, "You poor brat, you can't forget me even now, that's why you spy on us secretly. Seeing that we have developed to this point, where didn't you just want to come forward and stop 2.3? I really don't know who gave you the confidence." Qin Sheng sneered, and said lightly, "The place where we park is the parking space, which is a strange place for you to hide behind the car and go between men and women. Hey, I haven't found out that you came here by car. You must have been taken care of by some rich woman." Speaking of the car, Li Qi realized that Qin Sheng and the others came by car. Speaking of this, Li Qi looked at the few people around Qin Sheng, with a slightly sour tone. Dare to speak disrespectfully to the master and don't want to live anymore. The mountain ghost immediately attacked after hearing what Li Qi said. If her blow completely landed on Li Qi's gate, how could Li Qi survive? Stop. Qin Sheng stopped. He didn't want to risk his life. After all, this is reality. 89%. Chapter 429 They Bully Me. Chapter 429 They Bully Me. But, although the mountain ghost felt angry for the master, but since Qin Sheng had spoken, she would naturally not make another move, so she had to put down her clenched fist unwillingly. Li Qi's life gate was far away in the mountain ghost's fist, but a sharp gust of wind made Li Qi's hair flutter everywhere. Brother Long, they bullied me. Li Qi turned around and said to the man in front of him with a grieved voice. Hey, Qin Sheng, I didn't expect you to plot against Li Qi. Since that's the case, I'm going to make you go around today. Brother Long wrenched his knuckles and made a cracking sound, because I think this is particularly deterrent. Shabby. Qin Sheng gave Brother Long a cold look, turned around and led the other four towards the house. The person named Long Jie was a little dazed. Brother Long, you must make the decision for others. Li Qi leaned on Brother Long's arm and said coquettishly. Okay, since you said that, I'm going to make him lose face today. With the buff bonus of the beauty, Brother Long felt so proud at this moment, he hugged Li Qi and walked vigorously to stop 15 Qin Sheng and others. Qin Sheng, you poor dick actually came to a place like yesterday's restaurant. It seems that you are being taken care of by a rich woman. It's really embarrassing for us boys. I'm in a good mood today. I'll give you some money. After finishing speaking, Brother Long actually took out 2,000 yuan from his wallet and threw it at Qin's face. With a slight movement of Qin Sheng's figure, he dodged. However, Brother Long's move made him frown. Giant Spirit God, take out 20,000 cash. Qin Sheng said to Giant Spirit God. Yes, Master. The Giant Spirit God took 20,000 yuan in cash from the car and handed it to Qin Sheng. Get out. Don't bother me. Qin Sheng took 20,000 cash in his hand, and suddenly threw it at Brother Long's face, and a lot of 100 yuan fell on Brother Long's face. Brother Long choked on his saliva and found that his voice was a little dry. Although he was not short of 20,000 yuan, it didn't prove that he took it out casually. But Qin Sheng could, and what surprised him even more was that the young man next to him, Kong Wu, was actually called Qin Sheng as his master. He was a little confused. Isn't the Qin Sheng in his impression a poor dick? Could it be that he has always been eating pigs and pretending to be a tiger? Hey, some people call you master. It seems that after becoming a boy, he is so rich that he has enough money to hire bodyguards. Li Qi's sour voice came, and she immediately decided that Qin Sheng was adopted. You really can't compare to my brother Long. He has a down-to-earth job and his annual salary is in the millions. Do you think you can compare to him? Li Qi continued. Yes, Qin Sheng was adopted. He's different from me. Hearing what Li Qi said, Brother Long comforted himself in his heart. Noisy. If you dare to speak nonsense again, I'll pull out your tongue in the next second. Although Qin Sheng didn't allow them to do it, Luo Li couldn't help but utter a harsh word after all. Looking at Luo Li's cold eyes, Brother Long and Li Qi's hearts beat violently and they didn't dare to speak nonsense. Qin Sheng, you must be playing fantasy online games too. How about it? If you are not a coward, you will have a one-on-one PK with him. What do you think? Brother Long's wishful thinking is very good. Since fantasy came out, he has been playing until today. It can be said that in order to play such a game, he deleted all other games. It can be seen that the poisoning is too deep. What's more, he also recharged millions of dollars in the Dream online game, including the purchases in the system store and player transactions. He firmly believes that no matter how powerful Qin Sheng is, he can't be his opponent. After all, he is a Krypton Gold boss, and he is also ranked on the Tianbang. If you accept him, you will lose. If you don't accept him, you will be a coward. No matter what, it is in your own interest. Brother Long thought so. Fantasy online games. Qin Sheng sneered. This person was too conceited. Lu Li and the others were trying their best to suppress the smile in their hearts. What? Don't you dare. Brother Long thought that Qin Sheng was very good at playing, so he didn't dare to agree and said arrogantly. It's not that I don't dare to play, but I think it's meaningless if there is no lottery. So be it. If you win, I'll give you the Rolls-Royce Phantom Series car parked there. Brother Long is drooling. Oh my god. The Phantom of the Rolls-Royce series must have gone up to at least 5 million. It means that as long as you win a PK round, it is equivalent to winning 5 years' salary. Then what if I lose? Brother Long asked slowly, barely suppressing the joy in his heart. If you lose, how about Li Qi for me to play with? Qin Sheng said with a chuckle. But I met the resentful eyes of Shan Gui, Luo Li, and Lu Li, and the look on the face of the giant god that I understand. Oh my god. Qin Sheng was speechless. He naturally had his own intentions in doing this, but the meaning in his words was indeed daydreaming, and he did not go to explain it to Lu Li and the others. This. Brother Long looked at Li Qi with hesitation on his face. I agree. Brother Long didn't answer, but Li Qi agreed on Brother Long's behalf. Aren't you usually playing fantasy? You have also charged a lot of money, and now it's time for 457 to play its role. Li Qi didn't think Brother Long would lose, and Brother Long didn't think he would lose either. The reason why he didn't agree immediately was because he was afraid that Li Qi's anger would be enough to prove his love for Li Qi. But when he wanted to take Li Qi as a bet, the love had turned sour. It may be true love, but this love can also be used as a bet. Sad. Come in. Qin Sheng and the others stayed in a hotel worth 100,000 yuan a night, with extremely luxurious decorations, and a small swimming pool. Of course, there was no lack of equipment for the most popular fantasy online games. Tisk. Brother Long choked on his saliva. The hotel he and Li Qi found yesterday was only a few thousand a night, and it had everything one could expect. But the hotel where Qin Sheng and the others lived cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a night, which is terrifying. This is the life of the real rich. Brother Long is starting to get timid. If Qin Sheng is really so rich, what will he do if he spends money in the game all the time? Will he lose to him? But when he thought that he was immersed in the dream world all day long, and the equipment was extremely luxurious, his confidence immediately increased. As soon as he entered the game, Qin Sheng directly hid his ID. If Long Jie saw his ID and lost the idea of fighting in an instant, it would be much more boring. 89%. Chapter 430 What is your ID name? Chapter 430 What is your ID name? What's your ID name? Qin Sheng asked Long Jie at the side as soon as he entered the game. Long Jie is the best. Long Jie replied. Hearing this, Qin Sheng issued a war order to Long Jie most Niu Bai. My god, I actually urged the battle order. Long Jie's eyes widened. Some time ago, the number one on the list below me are all sons used the reminder to fight. He naturally knows the value of this thing. Up. Brother Long didn't know what to do, and when he accepted Qin Sheng's request, he made a big deal of money, so he accepted it confidently. I'm Cao, who actually used the reminder to fight again. I don't know, this person hid his ID, who knows his identity? Last time it was in the first row of the list and the ones below me were all used by my own son, right? I didn't expect someone to use them again so soon. Anyway, a Krypton Gold boss who can use the war order is definitely not something poor people like us can match. A sigh. As soon as the screen changed, Qin Sheng and Brother Long had already arrived at the mountains. They stepped on the void and looked at each other. Brother Long is the best, level 57. Attribute. Long stick deterrence. Every hit of the opponent will reduce the movement speed by an additional 5%, which can be superimposed. Skills. Stick strike, overwhelming. HP. 208,200. MP. 5,200. Everything about Brother Long is invisible in Qin Sheng's eyes. Haha, Qin Sheng, is your equipment like this? Long Jie looked at Qin Sheng's poor equipment and laughed. Because Qin Sheng felt that to deal with such a self-righteous rookie, weapons such as the Deviation Sword and the God's Blade were useless at all, so he simply put them away. But Brother Long saw that Qin Sheng didn't even have a weapon, so he thought it was because he was too shabby, so now he didn't even have a weapon, and he didn't even care about the dragon scale armor he was wearing. Defeat me if you have the ability. Qin Sheng smiled lightly, not at all furious at Brother Long's provocative words. Since you are in a hurry to seek death, you can't blame me. Brother Long held a long silver stick and swept towards Qin Sheng's position. Brother Long's swing. Under the watchful eyes of Qin Sheng, all-knowing and almighty star, there is nothing to hide. He turned slightly to one side, and with an extremely small range, narrowly avoided Brother Long's tiger-like swing. Hit. It's shit luck. Brother Long was taken aback, and then blamed Qin Sheng's luck for all this. The long stick that was swung took advantage of the situation and swung upwards and horizontally. But how could this kind of little trick be able to hide from Qin Sheng's discerning eyes? He stepped back a little half a step, and avoided the blow that Brother Long was bound to receive. Slow. Your speed is really slow. What's the matter? Is this all your strength? You can't beat me like this. Qin Sheng stepped back a little distance again, and looked condescendingly at Brother Long, whose expression was cloudy. HMPH. Does a person who can only hide have the nerve to call me? He doesn't even dare to reveal his ID. He must be an unknown person. He is afraid that I will be remembered by me in the fantasy world. Brother Long with a cold snort, he said self-righteously. In that case, then I'll show you my speed. After speaking, Brother Long took out a pair of golden boots from the equipment rack and equipped them on his feet. King's Soldiers. A reward from the Wind God. Attribute. It can increase the speed of the whole body by 30%, and consumes 30 points of mana every second it is used. Qin Sheng looked at what happened in front of him indifferently, and didn't take advantage of others. After Brother Long was dressed, he said calmly, "Get on when you're ready. You will pay the price for your arrogance." Brother Long snorted, and in the next second, his figure disappeared directly on the spot. It turned into a few afterimages and surrounded Qin Sheng, and said violently, "Ha ha ha. Qin Sheng, you were so rampant just now, I don't know where I am now. Everyone will be on stage next. Oh, is this what you call speed?" Qin Sheng smiled, and the smile made Long Jie very uncomfortable. Brother Long's speed was indeed much faster, and in his eyes there were indeed a few afterimages, but in the eyes of people at Qin Sheng's level, it was like slow motion in a movie. As he said that, Qin Sheng's figure turned into afterimages in a more rapid manner. With Brother Long's vision, he couldn't count how many afterimages there were. What's the use of being fast? You can only run away and act like a villain. Seeing that his speed was not as fast as Qin Sheng, Brother Long had to talk about other aspects. Ridiculous, before he wanted to compete with Qin Sheng in speed. I will use my strength to break your speed. This is what a real man does. Brother Long said as he took out a golden glove from the equipment rack and equipped it on his hand. Legendary weapon. Hercules gloves. Once the Hercules gloves are used, the strength and magic power will be instantly increased by 100%, and will be completely invalid after 5 minutes. Note: this is a one-time consumable item, and it is not recommended to use it before an emergency. Although the Hercules glove is just a legendary weapon, it is actually a one-time expendable weapon, so to some extent, it can be said to be more precious than ordinary king's soldiers. Even Brother Long was extremely reluctant to take it out, but in order to suppress Qin Sheng's arrogance, he couldn't care less. Brother Long was wearing Hercules gloves and holding a long stick, waving it in the sky, and the air made the sound of hunting. Quote. Tear up everything in front of you. Looking at the many figures of Qin Sheng in front of him, Brother Long was more confident than ever. Holding a long stick, he slashed at the air in front of him without a target, as if he wanted to smash. It's the same as splitting the world with money. Interesting. Qin Sheng watched the shocking stick approaching towards him, and there was no panic on his face, but a smile on his face. Isn't this Brother Long confident in his own strength? If that's the case, then I will shatter his confidence little by little. Thinking about it, Qin Sheng's afterimage began to merge with the main body, and under Brother Long's amazed gaze, he swung his stick with all his strength, and completely greeted Qin Sheng's body. Taking Qin Shengdu's body as the center, mountains and rivers collapsed, rubble scattered everywhere, and dust rose, making it difficult to see the situation inside clearly. Hey, haven't you heard such a saying? No matter how fast you are, you can't be safe from my full blow. At the very least, you lost more than half of your blood. Brother Long crossed his arms and looked at the place covered by dust. Yi Ping expected the result. 90%. Chapter 431. You haven't figured out the situation yet, have you? Chapter 431. You haven't figured out the situation yet, have you? You're too good. You haven't even touched the hem of my clothes, so you're going to die, right? You're more professional than Punchy. In reality, Brother Hu also sneered at Qin Sheng. If I was this good, I wouldn't be able to fight. It's really shameful. It is enough to prove how thick your skin is, compared to the city wall. Li Qi also sneered along with Brother Hu's words. Sing Fuhei. Oh. You haven't figured out the situation yet. Qin Sheng looked at the faces of the two and said with contempt. Brother Hu and Li Qi seemed to be aware of it, and looked towards the place where Qin Sheng was standing. At this time, the dust dissipated, and a wound also emerged. 380. How could it be? Seeing this injury, Brother Hu's eyeballs almost fell out. Even if he didn't use his skills, but at least he poured all his strength into the blow, how could the damage be so low? It's the armor on his body, at least the armor of the immortal ultimate soldier, no. Even the armor of the gods. Brother Hu fully realized the extraordinariness of the dragon scale armor at this time. He reacted without the slightest fear, but was even more excited. He thought, if he defeated Qin Sheng and the dragon scale armor fell off, then he was really lucky. Of course, as long as 853 Qin Sheng drops a piece of equipment, it will cause people from the entire guild and even the whole world to loot it, but the most important thing is, does Brother Long have this strength? The answer is obvious. What's the matter? Is this your so-called strength? I deliberately took back my afterimage and stood up to attack you. I didn't expect to only cause more than 300 damage to you. I am really disappointed. Qin Sheng, it's as arrogant as a high-ranking person talking to a low-ranking person. Of course not. Brother Long tossed about in the equipment column, and then equipped all the equipment he thought would be useful. Immediately, Brother Long's body became glamorous, with the image of a Krypton gold boss. Brother Long clenched his fists and felt the magic power in his body. He only felt that his strength at this time was more than 2 or 3 times stronger than usual. Because of some equipment, he usually doesn't use it very much, but now in order to deal with Qin Sheng, he has no choice but to increase his combat power to the maximum value. Qin Sheng, in fact, with my strength, it is more than enough to squeeze into the top 500 of the list, but I have been dormant in the top 700 just to eat pigs and pretend to be a tiger. Now, you BFAE are the first to see my strength, man. You can die with no regrets about your money. After finishing speaking, Brother Long placed the long stick on top of his head, and kept shaking the long stick with both hands, and the long stick began to gather a huge aura slowly, sweeping thousands of troops. As Brother Long's voice fell, the condensed momentum stopped suddenly, as if it was suddenly condensed at a point on a long stick. But as Brother Long swung that point out, the momentum suddenly magnified and then amplified. Just the momentum alone could clearly feel the sense of oppression within it. Interesting. Seeing the point condensed from the long stick galloping towards him, Qin Sheng didn't panic, but was interested, as if he wanted to force it down. This is a big move that consumes my 3,000 mana. No matter how good he is, he can't take it. It can only be said that he is too slow. Long Jie looked at Qin Sheng's actions, but secretly happy in my heart. In the last second, he was still surrounded by Brother Long, but in the next moment, he came to Qin Sheng's side. Seeing that the point had already arrived in front of him, Qin Sheng just stretched out a finger and pressed it against it. The momentum at that point touched Qin Sheng's finger, and everything was instantly annihilated, but in the next second, there was a sudden change, and the small point that should have disappeared between the sky and the earth exploded. Sabby, my sweeping thousands of armies gathers all the energy in the long stick at one point and releases it at the end. This power is under my control, so when I feel that this energy can't compete with you, I will directly detonate them. And you who are in the center of the explosion, I am afraid it will not be easy. Brother Hu's face was full of complacency. I've had enough. A bland voice came, making Brother Long's smile instantly harden on his face. 0. It was unbelievable that Qin Sheng didn't even suffer any damage in that explosion. At the moment of the explosion just now, Qin Sheng took out the God Blade and was directly immune to these injuries. He felt that it was meaningless to continue spending time with Brother Long like this, and he didn't have the slightest sense of accomplishment, so he simply ended hastily and dismissed the two people in front of him. I have given you so many moves, now I should make a move. As long as you accept this move, then you will win. Qin Sheng said lightly, holding the God's Blade. That's what you said. Long Jie repeated quickly, fearing that Qin Sheng might renege on his debts. Qin Sheng nodded with a chuckle, and then swung his sword casually in Long Jie's direction. Immediately, a terrifying sense of coercion rushed towards Brother Long. His breathing became short of breath, his vision became blurred, and his legs began to lose his control. Damn it, how can you be so strong? But, as long as I stick to it, I will win. Brother Long had a strong desire to survive, and roared, stick. This is the most powerful skill he can use with his remaining mana, the rest, he can only resign himself to fate. Bang! At the moment of contact, the long stick in Long Jie's hand was directly annihilated by Qin Sheng's sword wind, and then under Long Jie's stunned gaze, he hit his body indiscriminately. 18,000. A black streak of injury was fleeting. Brother Long's eyes were straightened. What the hell? His blood gauge is only over 8,000, how did Qin Sheng deal more than 10,000 damage? He couldn't figure it out. But he couldn't allow him to think too much, so he was identified as the loser by the system, and turned into a white light without knowing where he was going. Taking off the instrument, Long looked embarrassed. What's the matter? Is your strength only like this? It's a pity that you are still talking nonsense in front of PK, it seems that it is nothing more than that. Against you, one blow is more than enough. Qin Sheng shook in front of Brother Long, and said with a smile. Brother Long finally realized that Qin Sheng was playing tricks on him. As long as he wanted to, he could beat him with one blow as soon as he entered the PK arena, but he didn't do that, obviously he was teaching himself a lesson. At the same time, he was also wondering who had the ability to deal nearly 20,000 damage in one blow. You know, even the top few on the list are not the same, and they will definitely be able to deal such a touching injury. 90%. Chapter 432. It's really a bad fate. Chapter 432 is really a bad fate. Could it be? Brother Long seemed to have thought of a possible answer, hesitantly said, are you? All the people below me are my own sons. Quote. Qin Sheng smiled mysteriously, but did not reply directly. Seeing Qin Sheng's mysterious appearance, Brother Long became more certain of his point of view. It seems that hiding my ID before entering the game is also planned. I am afraid that I have already fallen into the trap at that time. Brother Long smiled bitterly. Also, who would have thought that he would hit the first place in the list by dealing with someone casually? You must know that only the top 1,000 players in the world will have the honor to enter the celestial list. It can be seen from this that the steps of this Tianbang are very high. On average, there are less than 10 people in a country who can be on the list. Brother Long didn't expect that he would not only meet a member of the list today, but also be number 1 on the list. Okay, I think it's time to fulfill our promise. Qin Sheng looked at Brother Long with a smile and said with a half smile. Long Jie was ashamed for a moment, really wanted to let others play with his girlfriend. Thinking of his girlfriend having fun under Qin Sheng's crotch, Long Jie's machismo began to make trouble, but why did he take Li Qi as a bet? We can afford to lose, let's talk. How do you want to play with me? Just do it. After finishing speaking, Li Qi looked at Qin Sheng with a look of death. I firmly disagree. Long Jie slapped the table and stood up, looking at Qin Sheng and the others with a ferocious face. Hey, lost the bet with our master, do you still want to renege on the debt? The giant spirit god grabbed Brother Long's head with his generous palm, and pressed his whole body to the ground, unable to move. Bastard! Brother Long yelled, but under the divine power of the giant spirit god, everything was in vain. My day. Do I want to look at my girlfriend today, and have sex with other men in front of myself? Brother Long was unwilling, and desperately wanted to stand up, trying to stop himself from making up the picture in his head, happened. But the more he struggled, the greater the force exerted by the giant spirit. Until later, Long Jie only felt that there was a jack on his face, and his face might have been deformed, and tears of pain almost fell out. He could only collapse on the ground like a dead dog, waiting for the picture in his mind to happen. You, get out. Qin Sheng saw that Li Qi had no love between men and women, only loathing. This damn is too casual. What did you say? Did you ask me to get out just now? Li Qi was taken aback. In order to make sure that I heard wrong. Even Brother Long, who was crying silently in his heart, woke up. Could it be that the teasing in Qin Sheng's mouth was different from the teasing in their mouths? He didn't understand. Yes, you can get out now. Also, get your man out with you, and from now on, don't appear in front of me again. Qin Sheng's disgust was like repelling flies. No, impossible. I don't believe it. You must want it. After speaking, Li Qi leaned into Qin Sheng's arms. A woman's pride haunts her. Ah, but in the next moment, Li Qi's terrified voice stimulated the eardrums of everyone present. Get out. You're really not ashamed. If you dare to take a step closer to Mr. Sheng, it will not only break your finger, but your life. Luo Li cut off Li Qi's finger without a sound, said coldly. Hearing Luo Li's words, Li Qi felt like falling into an ice cellar, and the pain from his fingers seemed to be temporarily forgotten by him. The bleeding wound on her finger made her have no doubt that this little loli in front of her would indeed kill her. Thinking of this, Li Qi covered her crippled fingers, took a hard look at the people present, as if she wanted to write them down, and then left. You can go too. Qin Sheng waved his hand, signaling the giant spirit god to release Brother Long. Giant spirit god nodded slightly, and then let go of Brother Long with a complicated expression. Although Qin Sheng didn't do anything to his girlfriend, which made him feel a little relieved, but Li Qi's subsequent behavior made him very chilling. I'm sorry to bother you today. After finishing speaking, Brother Long left the place with his thoughts in mind. After the outsiders had finished walking, the crowd looked back and forth at Qin Sheng, as if examining him. Asking for flowers. What's the matter? Why are all the people looking at me? I won't sleep tonight, you guys. Qin Sheng was a little puzzled. When I heard that the Lord was going to play with that woman just now, I thought it would be good for the master to have this eccentricity. Speaking of this, the mountain ghost's face turned red unnaturally. What hobby? Qin Sheng asked. The mountain ghost faltered and couldn't come up with an answer for a long while. What she means is that you have the vulgarity of teasing other people's girlfriends in front of their boyfriends. Luo Li was more straightforward. Say what's in your heart directly. Qin Sheng was speechless. Do you think I look like someone with such a perverted mentality? I look like it. The giant spirit god nodded. Qin Sheng glanced at the giant spirit god, who smiled sarcastically and said nothing more. Okay, I'm not kidding anymore. Those who want to level up can stay and do level up. Those who want to sleep can sleep in their own room and pass through the wood. Qin Kong said to everyone. Everyone understood and went back to their rooms, only Luo Li stayed behind. Master Cheng. Luo Li looked at Qin Sheng and shouted. What's the matter? Qin Sheng asked suspiciously, thinking that Luo Li simply wanted to stay and accompany him to level up. It seems that he wanted to talk to him alone. That girl just now, should I chase her up now and kill her to avoid future troubles? Luo Li's face was fierce. As long as it was a person who threatened Qin Sheng, it didn't matter if it was a person or a ghost. She can kill them all. No need. Qin Sheng shook his head directly. Why, Master Cheng, when that woman left, the murderous intent exuded from her body was not ordinary. I am afraid that if she has the opportunity in the future, she will make trouble and even kill Master Cheng. This kind of trouble must be eradicated. Luo Li spoke aggressively. Luo Li, you've gone too far today. You'll blame her if she doesn't hold grudges, and she's just an ordinary person, and it's normal to have emotions and desires. We treat her as a person. That's fine, why hurt her? Qin's words were earnest and thoughtful, but Luo Li, a little girl, had too much murderous intent after all. 90%. Chapter 433 Disappointed Luo Li. Chapter 433 Disappointed Luo Li. Then you mean to say, I did something wrong? Luo Li took a trembling step back, with disappointment and disbelief on her face. I didn't say you're right or wrong, I just wanted to express. Before Qin could finish speaking, Luo Li interrupted him. Enough. I know what you mean, I'm leaving now, and from now on, we'll have nothing to do with each other. Luo Li opened the window and jumped down from upstairs without any explanation. Blended with the rich night. Hey, Qin Sheng walked to the window, looked at the direction Luo Li was leaving, and didn't catch up, but closed the window and sighed deeply. This little girl has an abnormal temper, and she can't tell if she is chasing her now. When her anger subsides, she will naturally come back. Thinking of this, Qin Kong also let go of Luo Li's 750. Qin Sheng sat on a chair, inserted the USB flash drive he got earlier into the computer, opened the file, and found that there was only one conspicuous fantasy online game in it, and no other software. Qin Sheng was a little puzzled. What does this mean? Is he suspicious? Or does this world line involve fantasy online games? He can't figure it out anymore. If you think about it, it's better to operate it yourself first, and see what's weird about it. Qin Sheng put on the instrument, opened the game, and entered the fantasy online game page. Ding. Players, please register your identity before proceeding to the next step. Qin Sheng stood in the white world, and the system's notification sound came from his ears. Hey, it seems that this is still a trumpet, and it doesn't even have a save file. Qin Sheng knew it in his heart, because when he first entered the fantasy world at the card point, he came here at the beginning. Qin Sheng registered his identity information and entered the next step. May I ask if the player has bound a bank card? No, registration status is mandatory, while this one is not. Because all the sons below me have already bound their own bank cards, and this account has just been opened, so there is no need to bind a bank card. The next link is the link of getting the ID. Qin Sheng took the ID of Why Are You Calling Your Dad? And entered the game. Everything is no different from the first time I entered the fantasy world. I thought I knew some shocking secrets, but it turned out that I was overthinking everything. Ding. The player Why Do You Call Your Dad? Entered 52,031 Novice Village. What position does the player Why Do You Call Your Dad? Choose. Immediately, 12 positions appeared in front of Qin Sheng's eyes, and the system also specially reminded various attributes. But for a senior player like Qin Sheng, these are unnecessary. Without even thinking about it, he directly chose a fighter. Because I used to be a summoner, who had no power to restrain a chicken, and could only remotely summon all things to fight for me. I was lucky and obtained the means of assimilation, so I could output in close combat. Since it was similar to opening a trumpet, I simply chose a fighter position, which is close combat and can produce considerable output, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Ding. Player Why Do You Call Your Dad? Become a fighter. Brave player, start your journey. After speaking, Qin Sheng's figure turned into a stream of light, and then appeared in a small green village. Qin Sheng checked his own situation, and found that he only had coarse linen and a pair of white shoes, which was extremely miserable. 7 strikes. Throw 7 punches at the target in a row, causing high damage. The skill consumes Blue Halo, 5 points. Meteor Fist, with the speed of punching as the goal, so that the opponent can't react to a blow at a speed. The skill consumes 7 points of mana. Yeah, it's better than my original skills, but the bugs assimilated with me are completely incomparable. Qin Sheng nodded slightly. Anything else? Qin Sheng noticed that there was still a column of words below, so he glanced over. Talent. 5 times stronger than the average player's initial strength. It seems that my luck is not so good. The corner of Qin Sheng's mouth curled up slightly. What kind of assimilation talent? I actually got it at the beginning of the game, and there is no other possibility except luck. After reading all the information, Qin Sheng began to look for NPCs to complete the main task. Ding. Go to the swamp and kill 10 swamp monsters. You can get experience points, 15. Qin Sheng's first mission was like this. He completed the task of killing 10 swamp monsters according to the designated place of the mission, and successfully upgraded to 2 levels. After completing all the quests available in the village, the new account Qin Sheng barely reached level 8. But it takes level 10 to leave the village and go to the main city to become a trainee fighter. Qin Sheng searched for a place called Tiger Hill, specifically looking for some experience in fighting tigers to get to the first level early. After taking care of a war tiger in his hand, Qin Sheng discovered that there was actually an elite war tiger not far away. Just now, more than a dozen war tigers have been dealt with, and the experience has also been raised to level 9. The later Zanyu has less experience in promotion. Qin Sheng reckoned that he would have to deal with nearly 20 Zanyu before he could reach level 10, which would take too much time and energy. Therefore, he immediately took a fancy to this elite war tiger. Pull yourself together and meet this elite warrior. Wait, this brother is merciful, please give me the experience of Zanyu. Just as Qin Sheng was about to give the elite Zanyu the final blow, a voice of restraint came from the other side. Qin Shengli didn't pay attention to all the masters in this way. Instead, he speeded up and used Meteor Fist. Under this blow, elite Zanyu only left a few bottles of medicine and GG on the spot. Ding. The player, why do you call your dad? Has reached level 10 and can go to the main city to become a regular trainee. Ding. The player, why do you call you 3.2 dad? Learned a new skill, Tiger Fist. Tiger Fist. Attack the opponent with the momentum of a fierce tiger, causing a certain deterrent to him, and even won't make a move in 1 or 2 rounds. A series of system sounds fell into Qin Sheng's ears. He turned his head at this moment, looked at the people who stopped him, and said lightly, why are you calling your dad? Several people's faces froze, and only now did they notice that Qin Sheng's ID is why are you calling your dad, but they don't know what the meaning of why are you calling your dad. In his mouth. I told you to stop just now, didn't you hear? A middle-aged man with the ID tiger head tiger brain in the middle had a gloomy face, and his eyes were fixed on Qin Sheng's. Qin Sheng looked directly at Tiger Head and Tiger Brain with a calm expression on his face. Sure enough, the ID is just like him. I have seen bad ones, but I have never seen such tiger heads and tiger brains like you. 90%. Chapter 434 Masters never take the initiative to pretend. Chapter 434. Masters never take the initiative to pretend. You asked me to give you the elite war tiger, so I will give it to you. What's more, there is more than one experienced war tiger. If you insist on mine, I will willingly give you the elite war tiger with residual blood. Sabi. Qin Sheng looked at Tiger Head Tiger Brain and said contemptuously. Okay, very good. It seems that today I'm going to let you enjoy the beating from the people of the society. The middle-aged man's face darkened, and he waved his hand, and the people behind knew what he meant, and approached Qin Sheng with stern faces. Boy, this is what you asked for. Hee. It's not easy to be promoted to the 10th level, right? If you gave me the elite war tiger just now, at least you won't be down. The middle-aged man thinks that even if Qin Sheng has reached the 10th level, it was also impossible to deal with the 5 people he brought over at the same time. Stop nagging. Qin Sheng looked at the 5 people approaching in front of him with a look of contempt. 7 strikes. Qin Sheng didn't use his skills until 5 people approached him, gearing up for his fists. These skills were all greeted in front of these people. 52, 78, 69. The red damage suddenly rose, and 15 Qin Sheng nodded in satisfaction. Although it is not as impressive as his large black damage, but at least every blow has a critical hit, which is already very good. It's just that these people couldn't help hitting, and they were beaten back to the city by themselves in one blow, and the remaining 2 combos of their own hits were directly missed because they had no targets. This. Are you a human or a ghost? The middle-aged man of Tiger Head and Tiger Brain looked terrified as if he had seen a ghost. Dude, you're playing a game. Are you freaking out? Qin Sheng teased. It's no wonder that the middle-aged man was so panic-stricken, but it's really incredible to kill a person with one punch in the early stage. But if he knows that Qin Sheng is a veteran player in the fantasy world, and his strength is 5 times stronger than their ordinary players, he won't be surprised. Okay, I admit that you are a master, so now I solemnly hire you as my bodyguard. Escort and upgrade for me in fantasy world 10,000 a month, what do you think? Tiger head and tiger brain, the middle-aged man realized his gaffe after hearing what Qin Sheng said. Immediately he let out a sigh of relief, and threw an olive branch to Qin Sheng. I don't think so. Besides, I will let you down. Qin Sheng looked at tiger head tiger brain, squinted his eyes and said slowly. Don't. How dare you? I'm the president of Yuehui Group, with a net profit of tens of millions a year. The middle-aged man, tiger head and tiger brain, still wanted to use his identity to intimidate Qin Sheng until this moment. You only know my ID, but you don't know my identity in real life. Why don't you dare? After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he used his talented skill Tiger Fist to hit 102 touching damage, and sent Tiger Head and Tiger Brain back to the spring water. In fact, Qin Sheng is not afraid of his identity at all. I just don't understand why people nowadays always feel that they are hanging. They like to use their status to overwhelm others, and they also think it is very useful. The big bosses who are sitting on billions of dollars are not as good as these people. When Qin Sheng reached the 10th level, he went to the village head, and then the village head sent him to the main city, where he became a regular trainee immediately. It's weird, Qin Sheng murmured. How did he get to the main city? Why couldn't he accept the main mission? It's really strange. Since he couldn't take the main quest, Qin Sheng didn't want to sleep, so he found a place to farm wild monsters to upgrade, but what made him even more strange was that no matter how many wild monsters he killed, the experience value showed 0. Until now, he has killed 13 Galawind wolves at level 11, not to mention level 13 and level 4, at least level 12, but the reality is that he only gets level 0 experience each time. The level is as stable as Mount Tai, motionless. Day. No matter how hard Qin Sheng spawned monsters, he would not gain any more experience points. Moreover, he was unable to take on the main missions and dungeon missions, and any channels for upgrading were interrupted out of thin air. Helpless, unable to upgrade, he had no choice but to quit the game. It's so strange. After reaching the 10th level, I can't get any experience points. It seems that this USB flash drive is really tricky. However, Qin Sheng couldn't say what the specific strangeness was. It was getting late, and Qin Sheng went back to his room to sleep. I hope Luo Li can come back tomorrow and listen to my explanation. After speaking, Qin Sheng fell into a deep sleep. It was already mid-morning when Qin Sheng woke up. Lu Li and the others thoughtfully did not wake him up, but sat in front of the instrument to brush up the level. He turned on his mobile phone and found that at 8:10 in the morning, an unfamiliar number called him twice. He must have been sleeping soundly at the time, so he didn't hear it. Hello, who are you? Qin Sheng returned a call, and the other party connected quickly. I am Lawless. I said it in the online game, Fantasy, a few days ago. These days, I will come to you and apologize to you for what my little brother did before. The person on the phone said embarrassingly. Oh, I have a little impression. Qin Sheng didn't remember that there was such a person until now. My online ID is Lawless, and my real name is Fadian. How about it? Do you have time today, Brother Yi? Fadian said sincerely. Okay, when, where, 570, you can send it to me later. I still have something to do. I'll rush over when I'm busy. Qin Sheng hung up the phone after finishing speaking. He walked out of his room, looked at Luli and the others who were leveling up, and said helplessly, you guys go back first. I still have something to do today. I will hurry home early. Are you going to stay outside today? Luli, Shengui and the others looked at each other in blank dismay. Qin Sheng used to like to stay at home and immerse himself in the dream world to level up. Has the sun come out from the west recently? The funny behind-the-scenes person we met in Wutai Mountains some time ago wants to apologize to me personally, so you guys go back first. Qin Sheng said. By the way, where's Luo Li? I went to her room to look, and she didn't seem to fall asleep last night. The quilt didn't even move, and I haven't seen her until now. Do you know where she went? Lu Li asked suspiciously. She and I were in a relationship, and she should be back before tonight, so don't worry. Qin Sheng replied. All right then, you go home early. Lu Li and the others didn't stay any longer, took off their instruments and left the hotel. Lu Li is thoughtful, Shengui is single-minded, and Giant Spirit is honest and loyal. Without Luo Li, they naturally wouldn't make a fuss. 90%. Chapter 435 Upgrade Pill. Chapter 435 Upgrade Pill. Call out. A light and shadow flashed, and then stepped into the back of the door. I'm not mistaken. Someone actually stepped into that door. You read it right, because I saw it too. I thought the door was set up for nothing. I never expected that someone would walk in so soon. Which big boss is it? Everyone was immersed. I just saw that all the sons below me walked in. A slightly hesitant voice sounded, which seemed to be an answer to everyone's questions. It turns out that the big boss descended to Earth, so it's nothing unusual. I agree. After knowing that the person who stepped into the middle door was Qin Shang, everyone didn't find it strange. After Qin Shang stepped into the extraordinary door with its own halo, he found that there was no difference, but the view below was indeed very wide. Other players entered the auction site one after another, and they were also attracted by him. Witness. Good afternoon, distinguished players, I am very happy to be here with you. After waiting for a while, the auction finally started, but before the official start, there was always a lot of wordy talk. Anyway, Qin Sheng didn't listen to a word. He was looking at the players below. All of them looked excited, as if they had already taken the exhibit items on the stage into their pockets. Before entering the gate of the auction, there were tens of thousands of players standing, but when standing at the 18 gates, there were only more than 2,000 players. Until now, when the auction started, there were only less than 800 players at the scene. Player. Among them, the lowest level has the most players, more than 700 people, and the rest are people on both sides of him, and there are also people in their 30s and 50s. In the eyes of others, they can be regarded as big bosses. In my own eyes, it's not enough to see at all. You must have been waiting impatiently, so I won't go around the bush. Then, the auction will officially start. First of all, let me introduce to you what I have in hand. The NPC dragged the plate in his hand and said with a smile, "This is a pill, ha ha. Our Dan city is named after Dan, so naturally it will be the first to sell it. Pills. Upgrade pill. After taking it, it is mandatory to upgrade to 1 level. There will be no side effects. It can only be taken once, and it cannot be used in combination. The starting price is 500,000 diamonds." As the NPC's voice fell, the players in the audience boiled. Forced to upgrade a level. Who is present here is not level 57. As long as 1 level up, the ugly duckling will become a swan in an instant, and the hard days will be over, and they will be promoted to level 58, becoming the first in the list. Who is not excited? Even Qin Shang was excited when he heard it. Oh my god. The first one to take it out was actually a magic pill-like upgrade pill, but also, the price is extremely expensive. 500,000 diamonds is 50,000 RMB, even some little rich people dare not take it casually. I took it out. What's more, this is only a low price. As some super bosses bid, the price will only continue to be raised. I'll offer 500,000 diamonds. Sure enough, as soon as the NPC's voice fell, a voice followed immediately. Poor ghost, labor and capital offer 600,000 diamonds. Immediately afterwards, another person made an offer. I offer 610,000 diamonds. I offer 650,000. I offered 720,000 diamonds, which are all my property. If anyone pays more than me, I will not dispute. Spicy chicken, I'll pay 740,000. The sound of quotations ensued. I'll offer 1 million. Qin Shang, who had been silent all this time, suddenly made an offer. And following his offer, the audience instantly became silent, because his position was so compelling, as if he had the treatment of a presidential level, he couldn't help but attract attention. Forget it, it's better not to bargain with this kind of big guy. The players who originally had thoughts about upgrading Dan, at this time, had such thoughts at the same time. I offer 1 million and 1 million diamonds. A weak voice sounded, and everyone looked at him in unison, and couldn't help giving him a thumbs up in their hearts. The person sitting on top is all the people below me are my own sons. Do you dare to make an offer with him? The person next to him reminded. The ones below me are all my own sons. Who is he? The person who made the quotation didn't know. They could only say that the ones below me are all my own sons is very famous, but that doesn't mean everyone knows. Qin Sheng didn't expect that there would be someone asking him for a price, but he didn't think too much about it. Maybe it was his urgency for the upgrade pill. But he was bound to win it. I'll offer 2 million diamonds. Qin Sheng frowned, and once again quoted a price that surprised the players below. I offer 2.01 million diamonds. The owner of that voice still insisted, and the price he quoted was always only 10,000 higher than Qin Sheng's. I'll offer 5 million diamonds. Qin Sheng didn't want to continue entanglement with him anymore, so he directly quoted the price of 5 million diamonds, and after he quoted the price, the bidder had no sound. It seems it was beyond what he could bear. A group of players opened their mouths wide, but they didn't make any sound, because they were already stupid. They spent 500,000 yuan for a game, and a few of them still can't understand the life of a super rich like Qin Sheng. 5 million diamonds once, 5 million diamonds twice, 5 million diamonds 3 times. Deal. Immediately, the box in the NPC's hand was thrown towards Qin Sheng's box, and it slowly fell into his hand. Looking at it, a crystal clear white ball was lying in the box. Today, you must take it. Otherwise, the medicine inside will lose its effect, and it won't be able to play its role. The NPC reminded, also, it would be great if there is no limit to such a heaven-defying medicine. Then Qin Shengda can wait until level 99 to take it, wouldn't it be directly promoted to level 100? The system will not have such a big bug. Next, let's auction off the second item. Because of the first heaven-defying elixir, Qin Sheng began to have high expectations for the second item. The second item, the panacea, can restore all abnormal states, starting at 50,000 diamonds. I don't know where the second item is lower than the first item. Qin Sheng, who was full of hope, was speechless for a moment. Fortunately, he was still looking forward to it. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. You may know that the panacea is too low, and the starting price of all bids is 10 times lower than that of Upgrade Dan, but not many people bought it, and finally it was sold at a price of 120,000 diamonds. 91%. Chapter 436. The Treasure of the Town Gang. Chapter 436. The Treasure of the Town Gang. The third item, the legendary weapon, neon clothes. Exclusive for female players. Protective gear, which can be immune to 20% of physical attacks and 10% of penetration. The starting price is 3 million diamonds. Qin Sheng didn't dare to be interested in the legendary weapon. This kind of legendary weapon is often the kind that I put in my backpack and still think it takes up space. If it is not the king's soldier, it is not enough for me to see. He is not interested, but it does not mean that other players are not interested. It can be said that although there are not many players with legendary weapons, it does not mean that they are poor. Being able to participate in the auction is enough to represent the status of a Krypton Gold boss. It's just that I haven't come across a desirable legendary weapon, so I have no place to spend my money. My god, it's actually a legendary weapon. If it can be brought to the gang, it will be the treasure of the gang. I only have a few royal weapons, and none of the legendary weapons, so I must auction off the legendary weapons this time. The neon clothes look good, take it home to my little aunt, she should be very happy. 3 million diamonds. FK 827. I'll offer 3.3 million diamonds. I offer 3.5 million diamonds. 3.5 million diamonds. The players on the scene were asking prices one after another, but Qin Sheng just raised his eyes slightly, showing no interest in neon clothes. In the end, neon clothes was obtained by a man named What's Wrong with Krypton Gold, who spent 682 cubic meters of diamonds. But what I didn't expect was that the treasures, protective gear, and weapons to be auctioned next were all legendary weapons, and the scene fell into a wave of frenzy. Every player is very excited, only Qin Sheng is very helpless. These are all legendary weapons, he can't even use them, so the first upgrade pill is useful to him. It seems that this trip was for nothing. Next, the auction is the last item. All players, be prepared to bleed. Qin Sheng was in a half-asleep state, and the last auction item was ushered in. Only then did he look up with a little interest. The first item is so high, the last item should not disappoint me. Ah, a group of players in the audience responded frantically. Soldier of the King. Pharaoh's Staff. Attribute, Ice. Recite the ancient Pharaoh's spell, and you can summon the Ice group skills to drop, causing a wide range of damage. Applicable players. Mage. Hiss. The players in the audience gasped. They had never seen the King's soldiers before, and now there are King's soldiers among the auctioned items. How could they not be excited? The starting price is 20 million diamonds. The NPC's voice came again, but it made many players let go of the idea of obtaining this item. 20 million diamonds are 205 yuan. Even if they can get it out, it's not such a waste. The little rich with millions of dollars and millions of annual salary just gave up fighting for this thing. But if these small rich people don't compete, it doesn't mean that there are still some super rich people on the scene who are not interested. Zhongshan Ruhua produced 20 million diamonds, I hope you will sell me some face. Immediately, there was an offer from the super rich. Who is not a rich man here? Do you deserve us to give you face? I will give you 21 million diamonds. For this treasure, I am bound to get it, and I will offer 21.2 million diamonds. My Qingtianshikiti gang is willing to give 22 million diamonds. 23 million diamonds, I can't afford a higher price. The poor man is still asking the price here, I will offer 24 million diamonds. Quotations kept ringing, and the price of King's armor, Pharaoh's staff, quickly reached 24 million diamonds, which made many ordinary players daunted. No wonder the system had to set up 2 thresholds. From this BFBE point of view, even if those civilian players are allowed to enter the auction field, they will not be able to compete for these items. In the end, only the people on both sides of Qin Sheng kept quoting. Most of the small local tyrants could only watch their quotations helplessly. They were really the local tyrants among the local tyrants. I, Invincible, helped out with 30 million diamonds, who else is willing to pay a higher price? An imposing young man stood up and said confidently. This Invincible list seems to be ranked in the guild list, but it is not very high. It is more than enough to gather the financial resources of a guild to buy a pharaoh's staff. After hearing the price quoted by I'm Invincible, you can do whatever you want, there was silence below, and no one asked for another price. Also, 3 million RMB, who can afford it? In the end, I am Invincible, you are free to obtain Pharaoh's staff with 30 million diamonds. Under the envious eyes of everyone, I caught Pharaoh's staff and stroked it gently, just like treating a close lover general lingering. Today's auction will end here, and we will hold an auction every 2 weeks in Dan City. Of course, with the improvement of each player's level, the level of items will gradually increase. It can be obtained in the auction. The first player to obtain the upgrade pill was level 57 before, but now it is level 58. The NPC said so, and the players present immediately turned their envious players to Qin Sheng. Indeed, when Qin Sheng was bored, he vomited the upgrade pill and rose to level 58. But what is speechless is that its progress is only stuck at 0% of the 58th level. Didn't level up, it's just helping myself to advance to the next level, that is to say, it only helps me improve my progress by 8%. Without this elixir, Qin Sheng feels that this progress can be easily improved, which is simply shit. When the NPC mentioned Qin Sheng's face was also not very good looking, feeling that he was deceived by consumption. If it wasn't for the medicinal effect, Qin Sheng would wait until the 0% progress of level 99 to take it, so that he could break through level 100 in one fell swoop. From now on, Pill City will open Upgrade Pill, and players who want to buy Upgrade Pill can buy it. Upgrade Pill can be purchased in the general store of Pill City. Before the second turn, you can buy this pill in the store, of course yes, it can only be used once. The faint words of the NPC made Qin Sheng's face turn ugly. It means that in the future Upgrade Pill will not be worth much at all, and you can buy it in any small shop in Pill City. Then what's the use of buying it yourself? And it can only be taken once, that is to say, I can't take it anymore. Thinking that he has only improved by 8%, Qin Sheng wants to cry, but since he has already taken it, what else can he do? 91%. Chapter 437 I feel even worse. Chapter 437 I feel even worse. If I had known that upgrading pill would be opened in various stores in Pill City, I would not be in a hurry to auction it like this, let alone take it in a hurry. Afterwards, upgrade pill will instantly become popular in the fantasy world, and then become cheap. I bought it so early, just for the first experience. Thinking of this, Qin Sheng felt even more unhappy. Wow, the players exclaimed. After the auction ended, Qin Sheng saw many players rushing to the shop in Pill City, and felt even more unhappy. Soon, many players who didn't make it to the top of the list climbed to level 58 with 0% progress in an instant, and those players who were previously on the top list couldn't even see their shadows. It seems that they are playing very steadily, because if they take it at the first time, they may be the same as Qin Sheng, and they will only advance to a very small number of progress, and the gain is not worth the loss. Maybe rely on your own efforts. After reaching level 58, take upgrade pill to rise to level 59. This is the way to increase the upgrade pill to the maximum utilization value. After all, upgrade pill can only be taken once before the second turn, and after taking it once, it is impossible to take it a second time, so each player will take it according to his own situation. I have only been promoted to level 57. How long has it been? I have been promoted to level 58 again, which is the same as all the sons below me. A player yelled excitedly. At the same time, there are also many players who have not been promoted to level 57 for a long time, and they have also been promoted to level 58 at the same time. Although they were full of excitement, they were not as arrogant as this man. But they can also understand him. After all, Qin Sheng has always occupied the first place in the 4 rankings, and no one has ever been able to shake his position. They have been suppressed for a long time, and now they have caught up, naturally arrogant and domineering, extremely rampant. The ones below me are all my own sons, you should be here too. Get out of here, labor and management are now at level 58, I want to challenge you. One person said arrogantly. He thought that once he reached level 58, he could stand shoulder to shoulder with Qin Sheng. The commotion on the side was so loud, Qin Sheng naturally noticed it, and he sneered. He didn't want to deal with this kind of self-righteous cat or dog, but today he is in a bad mood, so he should show him some color. I heard that someone is going to challenge me, so I'll come and see which fledgling chick is looking for your father. Qin Sheng pushed aside the crowd and said in a cold tone. The lonely man was taken aback for a moment, and he just said it casually. He didn't expect that Qin Sheng was really in the crowd, and he also heard his provocative words. He was just stunned for a while, and then covered by the madness on his face, he smiled maniacally. It's really the number 1 in the list. When I think that the number 1 in the list is defeated by myself, I feel hard restrain your excitement. Everyone below me is my own son, I challenge you. The lonely man raised the facon in his hand, pointed at Qin Sheng, and said confidently. Okay, since you are anxious to find death, then don't blame me. Qin Sheng smiled coldly, completely ignoring the lonely person. Speak wildly, everyone is level 58, what qualifications do you have, or what kind of self-confidence do you have that makes you so inflated? The lonely man flushed, as if angry at hearing some great shame. Stop talking nonsense, let me see the truth. Qin Sheng couldn't wait to give this provocative person a hard lesson, and vent his aggrieved feelings by the way. Immediately, the two stepped into the PK field under the booing words of a group of players. Don't say I didn't give you a chance, I'll let you do it first. Qin Sheng put his hands behind his back, looking as mysterious and unpredictable as an outsider. HMPH. Pretending to be aggressive. Although the lonely man is extremely swollen, he is not shabby, so he naturally knows that Qin Sheng's ranking first in the 4 rankings is not due to opportunism, but relying on his own strength, so he did not dare to be careless. Fire control technique. With the lonely man yelled softly, a ball of fire appeared from his Dharma Zen, carrying terrifying power, and attacked in the direction where Qin Sheng was standing. Bang! The lonely man's fire control skill fell on the protective shield propped up by Qin Sheng. God's blade only slightly rippled. Other than that, there was no other harm. Is that all your strength is? You dare to talk nonsense to me? Come out and talk to me after you remake it. Qin Sheng raised his eyebrows slightly and said with a look of disdain. The current him doesn't like to eliminate his opponent with one blow, but likes to slowly wear down his opponent's self-esteem and self-confidence, making him despair. The lonely man was at a loss for words for a while. His face was extremely ugly, and he yelled, all the people below me are my own sons. You, who are rumored to be miraculous, are now facing me. That's all there is to it. You'll just hide behind the protective cover. Coward, how dare you come out and fight? Isn't protective gear part of strength? Qin Sheng smiled contemptuously. Forget it, I've already given you one move, and I'll give you a chance to make one last move. If you still can't do anything to me, don't blame me for being merciless face. 0. Big words. The lonely man snorted coldly, but seeing Qin Sheng put away the protective cover, he felt secretly happy. Take the move. The giant's fireball. Huge fireballs, with auras that were several times stronger than before, suddenly appeared above Qin Sheng's head. Die. The lonely man saw that Qin Sheng was still holding his hands behind his back, with a calm expression on his face, secretly happy but also extremely angry. Damn, how dare you underestimate yourself. But he probably didn't expect the power of his blow, and after he tried the power, it might be too late to regret it. Thinking of this, the lonely man seems to expect that he will become the number 1 in the heaven list, and enjoy the endless glory, with an excited smile on the corner of his mouth. Bang bang bang. The fireball fell, and there was a sound like thunder, and there were potholes where Qin Sheng stood, and the scene was extremely miserable. Ha ha ha, you're so f-king pretending, keep pretending to labor and management. The lonely man stood above the void and laughed wildly. Your attack is too weak. The dust gradually subsided, and a figure came out. It was Feng Sheng. 125, 138, 212. 3 of the injuries hit Qin Sheng's body, but they only caused 1 or 200 points of damage. For him with more than 10,000 blood tank stars, it was nothing. Even if I stand here and attack the lonely person, I have to receive such attacks at least 30 times before the lonely person has a chance to work. 91%. Chapter 438 You should bear my wrath. Chapter 438 You should bear my wrath. Lonely man, a look of astonishment hangs on his face. How could it be possible? That is ZZ's big move. It has almost exhausted his mana gauge. How could it only deal more than 100 damage? He was shocked. Also at level 58, that's the only amount of damage I caused. It shouldn't be. What's more, Qin Sheng completely resisted. He didn't use skills to counteract, and this result made it difficult for the lonely person to accept. Weak, weak, weak. It's too weak. I've already given you 2 moves. Next, you should bear my wrath. Buddha's light shines everywhere. Qin Sheng put his hands up and spoke plausibly. And as his words fell, the sky seemed to be torn apart by the Buddha's light, and then the supreme light descended from beyond the sky and landed on the area where the lonely man stood on his behalf. 307. Ah! The first ray of divine light shone on him, and the lonely person found out in horror that he lost 15,000 in an instant, but he only had a total of 8,000 blood quantity. Moreover, this was only Qin Sheng's first divine light. The lonely man only had time to let out a scream, and then was recognized as a loser by the system, turned into a white light and left the battlefield first. Qin Sheng was completely innocent, surprisingly won. Afterwards, Qin Sheng was also teleported out by the system. All go. Why are they all ranked 58? All the people below me are my own sons. Why are you hanging like this? I'm also wondering, the lonely man was tortured and killed by him, not to mention other things. He is at least level 58, and the people below me are all my own sons. How did he do that? You don't even look at the combat power list. Although we have caught up with him, we are still far behind him in combat power. A sensible person explained. Even if that's the case, he wouldn't be so stupid. Just a single wave of power from a skill can defeat a lonely person of the same level. It's too fake. Well, anyway, even if we have risen to level 58, there is still a big difference from the ones below me are all sons. This lonely person is really delusional, trying to challenge all the sons below me. Funny. At least he has more courage than you. When Qin Sheng came out, the players on the street looked at him with fear and admiration. When he looked at the lonely man looked embarrassed and hurriedly squeezed into the crowd. Now he understood that even if he reached level 58, he was just a clown in front of Qin Sheng, but he still thought he was a multi-talented person, and he felt embarrassed for himself just thinking about it. Qin Sheng saw the lonely man squeezed into the crowd, and didn't say anything to deliberately insult him. Instead, he looked straight ahead and said lightly, I'm in a bad mood today. Is there any player who has just reached level 58 who wants to test my strength and take my position in one fell swoop? All follow. As soon as this remark came out, there was no sound. What an international joke. Lonely man tested the waters for them before, but the use of the big move only caused hundreds of damages to Qin Sheng, and they were defeated by the first blow of Qin Sheng's skills. How dare they face him? What's more, the lonely man spent a lot of money to buy the upgrade pill and finally reached level 58. Now, defeated by Qin Sheng, he lost 2 levels in a row, directly falling to the 56th level. It was 1 level lower than before, and it was extremely miserable. I don't know when he will be able to catch up to this level or 2. Seeing the miserable end of the lonely man, even if the players present have the intention, they are powerless. Qin Sheng felt a little bored when he saw that he hadn't challenged himself. Fighting against the lonely man really made me feel better physically and mentally, but the lonely man is really too good. He will be cold before the warm-up is over, and many players under the letter dare not challenge own. Since that's the case, let's stop today's matter. If there are still people who think they can do it, they can challenge me, and I'm waiting for you at any time. I don't mind one to many. Anyway, I will deal with as many as they come. I will never be cowardly. If you are not afraid of falling if you are at the top level, just come. Arrogance, arrogance, invincible. This is the thought in the hearts of every player present, but no one stands out and is more arrogant than Qin Sheng, because Qin Sheng's strength is here. Who can compete? In this world, the strong are always respected. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he left with a flick of his sleeves, and the people along the way consciously made way for him. It's too arrogant. No one will come out to punish all the sons below me. Go if you have the ability. But do you have the guts? Take the risk of losing 2 levels in a row. I was speechless for a while. No way. Who told him to have strength, and we don't have that strength and arrogance. What is sour? It was the lonely person who took the initiative to provoke. What are we talking about here? When you reach his level, let's talk about others. Hey, if this kind of boss is someone I know, it would be great if he could take me flying. I suggest you to dream. There is everything in the dream. Oh my god, is this person so awesome? It's a pity that I kept bidding with him during the auction. It's over and over. I actually offended this kind of god. He won't hate me with G and kill me from then on. Yellow Springs and Blue Falls. This person is the player who competed with Qin Sheng for upgrade pill at the auction site. Seeing Qin Sheng's performance, he began to regret that he had confronted Qin Sheng at the auction, but it was useless to regret now. I can only find an opportunity to apologize to this great god, this person secretly murmured in his heart. In fact, Qin Sheng didn't care about such little people, because 500,000 RMB is just a drop in the bucket for his property, and he doesn't care at all. It's just that the money made Qin Sheng feel very aggrieved. If he had known earlier, it would be better if he didn't ask for the price, which would be a big loss. I have to say that it is really good to be famous. There is no big boss at the auction site calling for the price upgrading pill, only a stunned young player who doesn't know his name calling for the price. Presumably upgrade pill is very tempting to many players. I was able to auction it off with 5 million diamonds because those local tyrants didn't ask for a price, or I would have spent more than 500,000. Are all the online games making so much money now? Qin Sheng mused slightly, although he was not short of money, but some of the equipment he kept in his possession was useless at all, so it was better to auction it off to get blood back, so that it could be used as waste. 91%. Chapter 439 My Fault. I am willing to drink a glass of wine. Chapter 439 My Fault. I will punish you with a glass of wine. Looks like it's time for me to hold a personal auction. Qin Sheng secretly made up his mind. At this level where golden weapons and legendary weapons are flooding, I already have forbidden things, legendary weapons and weapons of the king's soldier level. Not on. As for the items auctioned on the system, even the legendary weapon and the king's armor were looted. Among them, the king's armor, Pharaoh's staff, was sold at a value of 3 million RMB, which is simply terrifying. Think about the legendary weapon and the king's soldier in your backpack, put it on the auction site, let alone sell it for hundreds of millions. Gilgamesh, the god of war, and the 2 ceremonies also have many unusable legendary weapons and soldiers of the king. 10 taken together are much richer than dozens of guilds bundled together. After Qin Sheng brushed up the level for a while, he logged out and went offline. And now it was almost the time agreed with Fadian, and he walked in according to the address and box number issued by Fadian. It's Brother Yi. A clean-haired man in his 30s stood up and said. It seems that he is Fadian, the leader of the guild. Qin Sheng knew it. He walked over kindly, and several others followed suit. Qin Sheng nodded slightly, and sat on the sofa under the warm hospitality of Fadian and the others. Brother Yi, I'm really sorry. My little brother caused you trouble 2 days ago. It's my fault. I'm willing to punish you with a glass of wine. After finishing speaking, Fadian drank the glass of wine in front of him. After finishing the drink, Fadian hurriedly hinted at the stiff bald man next to him with crazy eyes. The bald head had no choice but to stand up and said nervously, Yi. Brother Yi, I'm really sorry, I disturbed your elegant mood that day. After finishing speaking, the bald head in front of him also drank the glass of wine in front of him in one gulp. He was the same doobie who stopped Qin Sheng and the others at Mount Wutai that day, claiming to be a master of martial arts, but was beaten by him and fled in a hurry. It's okay. Qin Sheng smiled, but he secretly despised Fadian in his heart. If it wasn't for Fadian's instruction, how could this funny guy cause trouble for him? He has no grievances or enmity with this bald head, and the bald head has no reason to find himself trouble. But Qin Sheng didn't expose him, and it wasn't a big deal anyway. Of course, this was on the premise that he would correct his mistakes. If they toasted and refused to eat the fine wine, he would still give them a little color. Brother Yi, you really have a lot of adults. The bald man complimented. Okay, sit down. Fadian pulled his bald head down and sat down, then looked at Qin Sheng and said, Brother Yi, I want to ask, can all members of our guild join the Xiao guild? I think about the Xiao gang day and night. Sure enough, this is their purpose. Qin Sheng sneered from the bottom of his heart, and said, why did God insist on apologizing in person? It turned out to be for this purpose. Oh, ridiculous. Although the Xiao gang does not have many people, but each of them is the top few on the list, which one is not a master with 1 against 10 or even 1 against 100. The Xiao gang is the first on the list of guilds. It's not like a cat or a dog can get in if it wants to. Come to think of it, Fadian also felt that there was no hope of entering, so he specially asked Qin Sheng to meet to win the relationship between them so that he could enter the mock gang. As we all know, the ranking of a guild is not only related to the glory of the collective, but also includes the interests of the collective. The better the ranking, the system will distribute gift packages every once in a while. There are gang individuals and gang leaders. All in all, the higher the ranking, the more benefits. I'm sorry, you should know that our Xiao guild has a very high threshold. You must be ranked in the top 20 of the celestial list at least, and you can only enter the guild with my consent. And your guild doesn't even have the top 300 in the celestial list. Not close, why? Qin Sheng's words can be said to be very merciless, and the faces of Fadian and others twitched endlessly. Is there really no hope at all? I can join alone, and I can disband the guild or transfer it to someone else. Fatn is still struggling to ask for Qin Sheng's consent. This Fadian is really irresponsible. After hearing what Fadian said, Qin Sheng felt even worse in his heart. I think what I said is very clear. If you came to me today just for this matter, then I can leave, and you can do what you want. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he was really about to leave. Don't, Brother Yi, I'm not only looking for you for such a matter, but more importantly, to connect with each other. Fatn said while handing Qin Sheng a glass of wine. Qin Sheng's keen sixth senses sensed that there was something wrong with this glass of wine. It seems that he didn't get the desired result, and he became angry and wanted to murder himself. His heart is like a mirror, but he pretended to be a fool and pretended to drink the wine that Fadian handed over. Good wine. Qin Sheng smacked his mouth and let out a sound of admiration. It's good to drink more, and I ordered these dishes, don't waste them. Fatn sneered secretly, and hurriedly helped Qin Sheng pick up the dishes. Then I'd rather be obedient than respectful. Qin Sheng cooperated with them. I'm a little sleepy. Qin Sheng narrowed his eyes, and finally couldn't bear the sleepiness, 183, and fell into a coma. Brother, can't we do well? Will he sue us when he wakes up? Seeing that Qin Sheng was deep asleep, the bald man said hesitantly. What are you afraid of? Did he have the nerve to say that he was raped by a man? Fatn sneered. My sow, how dare you play tricks on me? Qin Sheng felt goosebumps when he heard all this. These people actually found a duck to frame themselves in advance. It seems that they had expected this result a long time ago. In view of their disgust, Qin Sheng intends to punish them. Okay, you guys go back if you're afraid, a group of big old men, who are more slutty than little girls. Fadian waved his big hand, signaling that the bald head and others can leave. As if the bald head and the others were granted amnesty, they left this place. At this time, only Fadian, Qin Chen and others were left in the box. This is a hotel. Fadian has already booked a room in advance, and there is still a duck waiting for it. Fadian brought Qin Sheng into the room, and said with a smirk, hee hee. It would be great if you promised, at least you won't leave a lifetime of shadows. If you want to blame it, blame someone like me. Repent. Go. Where are you? After speaking, Fadian looked around, but he didn't find the duck that called. 92%. Chapter 440. The Shadow of Life. Chapter 440. The Shadow of Life. I'm taking a bath, don't worry. A crispy voice came from the bathroom, but the owner of the voice was a man, which was terrifying. Okay, wait until you come out and take care of this person. Fadian said impatiently. Don't worry, by the way, when will the money be earned into my account? A charming voice sounded. You don't have to worry about this. I will transfer the money to your account immediately after the matter is completed, and then I will leave first. Fadian didn't seem to want to see the voice of the male master. After speaking, he thought to get out of here. But how could Qin Sheng get up from the ground and stand behind Fatn as he wished, when Fatn turned his head and was about to open the door? Fadian noticed the movement behind him, and immediately turned his head, only to see Qin Sheng's face close at hand. He was so startled that he was about to cry out. Qin Sheng hastily stunned Fadian with a knife in his hand, and gave Fadian the reserved wine. Immediately, he turned and left the hotel. Not long after, Fatnu woke up from the coma, but saw a charming man, like a flower, like a jade, staring at him. It was terrible, he was almost about to kiss him. Ah! Fadian was shocked by the face of the man in front of him, and slapped him like a reflex, still in shock. What trick are you doing? Didn't you tell you to take care of the man I brought? Did you take care of it? Fadian looked at the flower-like man and asked with straight brows. You were lying here as soon as I came out. As for the man you mentioned, I didn't see it. You are the only one, and there is no one else. The flowery man was also very confused, but he still told the truth. What I saw when I came out. How is it possible? Fadian muttered to himself, and then he suddenly remembered that Qin Sheng woke up later and put himself on the ground. After that, I fell into a coma and didn't know what happened next. Damn it! Backquote. Fadian roared. How did Qin Sheng see his tricks? He couldn't figure it out. What about the money? Ruhua man hesitated for a while, but still asked. I want Nima's money. Everyone is gone. You have not played a role. What is the use of you? Don't let me see you again. Fadian was furious, and at this time he came to touch his own bad luck. Seeing that Fadian looked like he was going to kill someone, the Ruhua man felt a little scared, put on his clothes and was about to leave. Wait, Fadian stopped, because for a moment, he actually fell in love with the flowery man in front of him, the kind of love to the bone, the kind of hopeless one. Anything else? The flowery man stopped and asked. Fadian didn't speak, just pounced on the flowery man like a beast. No, I'll sell myself for money, otherwise, Sao will die. The flowery man looked at Fadian with a look of return. All right, I'll give you the money. Fadian then transferred a red envelope of 500 yuan to the Ruhua man, and the Ruhua man gladly accepted it. It wasn't until later that Fadian realized that he had been hit by his own aphrodisiac, but it was too late, and this would become a stain and shadow for his whole life. Ha, you really don't know how to plot against me. Qin Sheng walked in the night with a cheerful expression on his face. When he thought that Fadian was with that angry man and some indescribable things happened, he felt very happy. When the matter subsided, Qin Sheng rushed back to Lanye Villa. Master Sheng, you are finally back. Lu Li stood guard in the living room of Lanye Villa, as if she had been waiting for a long time. Did something happen? Seeing the nervous look on Lu Li's face, Qin Sheng immediately thought that something important had happened. Master Sheng, Luo Li hasn't come back yet, will something happen to her? Lu Li looked worried. After all, Luo Li had never left without saying goodbye, and she hadn't come back for more than a day, so she was inevitably worried. Hearing what Lu Li said, Qin Sheng's pupils also shrunk. This little girl hasn't come back yet. This is beyond my expectation. You don't have to worry. You and I know Luo Li's strength. We don't need to worry about her. She should come back tomorrow. Qin Sheng comforted Lu Li, but he didn't know what to do. Ever since he met the master at Mount Wutai, he began to have great doubts about the system of this world. Perhaps all this time, he met only ordinary people, and Yan Duo was an ordinary person with money. But in this world, there are still many existences that are not ordinary people, but I haven't come into contact with them yet. Lu Li nodded slightly, but the worry in her eyes was even more serious. Qin Sheng naturally noticed it, and he was helpless at the moment, so he could only wait until tomorrow to see the situation. If Luo Li didn't come back tomorrow, he would have to use various means to search. #you go back to sleep first. I will take care of this matter. Qin Sheng said to Lu Li. Although Lu Li was worried, she was also very rational, knowing that there was no rush, so she obeyed his words. Luo Li's strength is superb. As long as he doesn't meet the level of masters I met a few days ago, there shouldn't be any problems. But Qin Sheng was still a little worried, but as he said, there was no rush, Riki had to wait until tomorrow. Open the trumpet of why are you calling your dad? Qin Sheng tried to upgrade the level online, but failed in the end. Reluctantly, I changed to a larger size and boarded. As soon as he entered the fantasy world, Qin Sheng called Lu Mengxin. Brother Sheng, you haven't called me for a long time. Lu Mengxin was very resentful. Qin Sheng was speechless. Do women still care about this? So, he said hurtfully, I called you this time to ask for something. Sure enough, Lu Mengxin trembled in her heart. Although she had expected it in advance, she still had expectations before. This damn anticipation made me feel dejected. Brother Sheng can be said to be in charge of the wind and rain in the fantasy world. Sister and I are weak. How can I help Brother Sheng? Lu Mengxin chuckled and said sourly. It's like this. I want to auction off some equipment recently, but none of our guild members are very good at hosting, so I want to hand over this matter to your Zuimengju guild. What do you think? Qin Sheng came slowly. Brother Sheng is not sincere enough, and my sister doesn't really want to help with this. Lu Mengxin didn't immediately agree. I invite you to come to my house for dinner next time. Qin Sheng repeated this sentence again. Qin Sheng repeated this sentence again.